The following is a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. High noon in Tokyo, and at the Tokyo Dome today, on the last day of Pool B, an elimination game. Australia and Cuba, rivals on the international stage. They play for a spot in round two. Israel's coming to round two. The Netherlands has advanced. Japan is through. Will it be Cuba or will it be Australia? Hi everybody, Rich Waltz along with Buck Martinez. Welcome to Tokyo. Well, this is a lot of fun. This is a Game 7. This is an elimination game. And Buck, you mix in the fact that there's an international rivalry here, and we got something special.
Well, these two teams have played a lot in the past, Rich, and they played in the gold medal game in the 2004 Olympics in Athens, and Cuba won that game. Cuba also had a dramatic comeback win in 2013 in Mexico City in the first round in their pool. So these two teams have a lot at stake here this afternoon.
Australia played a very good game but lost to heavily favored Japan in game one. And last night against China, the power showed up.
Well, it sure did. Last time they were in the World Baseball Classic, they managed to score just 2 runs, but it's a different story now. Luke Hughes had a big night. He was 2 for 4, 2-run home run and a 2-run double, and then the second baseman really capped off the offense. James Beresford hit the grand slam late in the ballgame to really wrap up the win. This team didn't score many runs in the lead up to this tournament, but right now they're swinging the bats very well, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. They scored 11 runs against China, 9 hits, 6 extra base hits, and they were good in the clutch, and 8 of the 9 starters reached base safely. This team is balanced, they are fired up, and they're looking forward to this game and advancing for the first time into the second round.
And Buck, the stars for Cuba in this tournament are new faces. This is kind of Cuba 2.0.
Boy, it sure is. Their center fielder, Roel Santos, has a lot of speed. He's been on base. He's had a terrific tournament. The third baseman, Yurispel Gracial, has really come through with some big power hits. And how about the teenager? 19-year-old Yoelkis Cespedes, the right fielder, not showing any signs of being intimidated in this great atmosphere. Santos is 4 for 7, Gracial is 5 for 8, and Cespedes 4 for 8 with a double. And in the outfield, Santos and Cespedes can really go get it. This is a very good young version of the Cuban national team.
An international power, Cuba has never won a World Baseball Classic. They would love to change that. Australia's never been to the second round. Elimination game. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Australia and Cuba. Fish Market, one of the great places in this enormous and wonderful city of Tokyo, and a great host for the World Baseball Classic once again. And here we are on the final day of Pool B. Cuba, a world power trying to advance. They have never won a World Baseball Classic. Obviously, they would love to change that. And of course, Australia, on the other hand, has never been to the second round. This is an enormous day in Australian baseball history, a chance to not only advance, but also to beat a rival, a bitter rival in Cuba. All right, here's Australia's starting lineup. 2 changes here for John Diebel. David Candelas is in right field. James Beresford, who had the grand slam last night. Luke Hughes, big 4 RBI game against China. Mitchell Denning is in center. Tim Cannelli is in left field. Trent Olchen is back into the lineup, and Olchen brings that left-handed bat to the DH spot. Logan Wade, a switch hitter, gets the start at third base. Alan D. San Miguel has been one of the hitting heroes this year for Australia. And Brad Harmon has had a solid tournament as well, including a big day against China.
Lazaro Blanco draws the start for Team Cuba. I spoke to the manager, Carlos Marti, about Blanco. He said he is the best pitcher in Cuba right now. 14-3 a year ago. He understands the significance of this start today. Win or go home, and he is a very established veteran pitcher, good command, not overpowering by any means, but he's a guy that understands you have to go out here and throw strikes. He's the ace for Grandmar, Carlos Marti's team in Cuba. He defeated the Dominican Republic in the most recent Caribbean series, a very good Dominican Republic team. And he's a veteran pitcher, and he understands the moment. A lot on the line for Cuba. This team lost to Japan in the championship game in the inaugural tournament in 2006, and they would hate to go home after the first round here in this 2017 World Baseball Classic.
All right, defensively, very athletic, especially in center and in right.
Despañez in left, and speed in center and right, and Santos and Cespedes. Graciel has had a good tournament at third base. Ayala and Benitez, veteran double play combination up the middle. Willing Saavedra at first base, and Frank Morejon is the catcher.
And here we go, little sidearm delivery, a running fastball that misses inside. Todd Titchener is the home plate umpire. And another fastball is in. Frank Morejon, the veteran catcher, trying to settle down Lazaro Blanco.
Morejon not wasting any time. Second pitch of the ball game, he goes out in front of home plate and says, hey man, throw it over. Let's go.
Candelas last night, 2 for 3. This is a quick turnaround for Australia, and Candelas opens the ball game with a line drive single to left. You have veteran managers. Carlos Marti just won a Serie Nacional title with Granma, as Buck talked about. And on the other side, you've got John Diebel, who's been at the helm for 4 World Baseball Classics. And I said this is one of the biggest days in Australian baseball history. The other was the gold medal game back in 2004. Diebel was the manager. And who did Australia play? Cuba. Cuba won that gold medal. And so here they are in the World Baseball Classic. Winner on to round 2. Loser goes home. Here is Beresford. And what a nice moment for Beresford last night to blast a grand slam. That coming off the frustrating at bat, that double play grounder that squashed a rally in the close loss to Japan in game 1. Fastball up. Morejon senses right now that Lazaro Blanco is not right.
Well, Rich, this gives you an idea of the importance of this ball game and how quickly you have to get things turned around. Morejon is a veteran national team catcher, and he's out there quickly to say, hey man, you got to throw this over. We don't have many opportunities to really settle into the game. Remember, there's a pitch count in play. Plus, you don't want to fall behind this Australian lineup. They are a very good fastball hitting team, and if they get the count in their favor, they're going to do some damage.
Beresford now sitting on a 2-0 count. Does that sound familiar from that Japan game? And he gets the green light again, and he pops it up. It is Ayala who takes charge and makes the catch.
Beresford got his fastball on the 2-0 count. That was the count he had in the 5th inning with the bases loaded in a 1-run game, and hit into an inning-ending double play against Japan. He got his redemption in last night's game, as did Luke Hughes, who had a big offensive night last night.
For some of you, this might be the first time you've seen Australia play in this World Baseball Classic. Luke Hughes is a guy that has pop. 10 years in the minor leagues, got to the big leagues with the Twins, homered in his first major league at bat against Max Scherzer, and his home run yesterday was hit, and it stayed hit. A 2-run homer about 12 to 15 rows up in left center field. Also had a 2-run double.
Australia, in their loss to Japan, managed just 1 run on 5 hits. And Luke Hughes in that ball game had a single in 4 at-bats, but he broke out against Team China.
And this Australian team is peppered with guys like Hughes, who spent time in the minor leagues, able to get to the big leagues, have a taste of that. So there's not much that this Australian team hasn't seen in the game of baseball.
Australia has never advanced beyond the first round of the World Baseball Classic, and you talk about a significant game. You advance, you get to the second round, it raises the profile of baseball all across the country in Australia.
Blanco with a fastball that misses up. Well, I guess for many Cuban pitchers, a variety of release points is kind of a tradition. It probably goes all the way back to the great Tiante, Luis Tiant, who of course was a star in the major leagues for the Boston Red Sox. And a breaking ball from Blanco, and down goes Hughes.
Well, not only do you get different angles, you get different velocities from Blanco. He will drop down from time to time. He takes a little bit off this breaking ball, and you can see how far out in front Hughes is. He got fooled by the velocity more than anything. It was a well-located slider, but the veteran Blanco took enough off to have Hughes out in front.
Do you expect that's the game plan for Cuba, and that is not show these Australian hitters a lot of fastballs?
Yes. We saw that against Team Japan there. Ace Sugano threw a lot of fastballs, and although they managed just 5 hits, they hit the ball hard. I expect them to get a pretty steady diet of off-speed pitches.
Mitchell Denning knows these surroundings. He played in Japan in 2015, 5 years in Boston's minor league system. His 3rd World Baseball Classic.
He's looking for his first hit in this Classic. He's 0 for 7. He's got a walk, but he's looking for a knock. Get his bat going a little bit.
And he's got a 2-0 count, just like Beresford had. Candle is still at first after a leadoff single. We're just underway in Tokyo. Elimination game.
And that's one thing the Australian hitters are going to have to do. They're not going to get fastball on fastball counts from Blanco. He drops that slider in there, and Denning was out in front of it. You got to change your approach a little bit in this game this afternoon.
Denning 0 for 3 last night with an RBI. Gets on top of it, slow to Benitez, who can't handle it. And Australia's inning stays alive. Carlos Benitez charging. Denning got down the line. And Australia has runners first and second. Here comes Tim Kennelly.
Well, Denning gets his first hit, and it's an infield hit. The second baseman is way out in right field, anticipating the ball being hit hard. And you can see how far he has to run to make a play on this. He's got to rush his play. It's a do-or-die chance, and he can't field it cleanly. As Denning is aboard with his first hit of the tournament. And you can see Benitez, so what can I do? A little swinging bunt, and it was a do-or-die play.
Now the left fielder. Kennelly last night, an RBI single. Has 2 hits, a hit in each game here in Tokyo, and he was ripping at a breaking ball.
He lined out in the game last night to right field, hit into a double play, and then picked up an RBI single in the 7th, but he's swinging the bat a lot better than his batting average might suggest. He's been on a lot of pitches so far in this series.
Another breaking ball. No swing.
Boy, that was close. Looked like he could have been called for a swing, but he's able to check to convince the first base umpire that he didn't go after it.
There's a strike. So the count 1-2. Australians have a couple runners on, just underway. Lazaro Blanco, as Buck described, is the best pitcher in Cuba right now, coming off a brilliant season. And remember, the Cuban season falls during the winter. Two and two. At the same time, the Australian Baseball League ends up running in their summer, but in the winter for those that follow Major League Baseball or even baseball here in Japan. Two-two. That's out. All right, Buck Martinez. If you're Tim Kennelly, you've watched this inning. It's 3-2. What are you going to get from Blanco?
I think you're going to get a breaking ball again, but he can't really commit to the breaking ball. You can look breaking ball in this situation because he doesn't throw hard enough to really get in on you with the fastball. So go ahead, look breaking ball, and I think that's what you're going to get from Blanco, the veteran. He's not going to give you a fastball, even though it's a 3-2 count.
Candelas from second, Denning from first. On the way, the 3-2 spin, and nobody bites. Kennelly, the 30-year-old out of Perth. Played a long time in the Phillies organization. Now the 3-2. Breaking ball, fly ball, didn't get it. And Despagne has to charge to make the catch, and the inning is over. Australia leaves two. Cuba gets their first swings next. Warwick Saupold on his way out to the mound for Australia, and he'll face a Cuban lineup that has been clicking in this World Baseball Classic. And for Cuba, Raul Santos in center field has been a dynamo. Alexander Ayala has 3 hits, including a couple of doubles. Frederick Cepeda and Alfredo Despagne are the 2 veteran and big bats in the middle. Willen Saavedra, Yorisbel Gracial, first pitch a strike, and then you've got Carlos Benitez, Frank Morejon, and then Yoelqui Cespedes is a guy you need to be careful with in the 9 spot for Cuba. Santos digs in. Saupold out of Perth, a high fastball, and it's 1-1.
Saupold, 27 years old. He pitched in 6 games with the Tigers last year with a 1-1 record. Saupold really has a good arm. He had a groin injury last year that really limited his time with the Tigers. He pitched most of the season in AAA Toledo. 1-1. He picked up that win in relief over the Baltimore Orioles. Good breaking ball.
And that was quick. Down goes Santos. What's your scouting report on this right-hander?
Saupold is a legitimate major league pitcher. It's a good matchup against Cuba because he has enough fastball to set up his breaking ball. He loves to use his fastball to start the at-bats. He threw 3 solid innings in the qualifier to get Australia in this game, that game against South Africa. So he understands the significance. I tell you what, down on the field before the game, and Australia players, they are really focused to win this game.
And a strike opens the Alexander Ayala at bat. Ayala, the 35-year-old guy that's been in the Serie Nacional since he was 17. That's a hot smash that Wade has at third. Good swing. Ayala barreled it up, but it's out number 2.
Well, don't forget the significance of quick outs in this tournament. Take a look at the defense for Australia. They've got good speed in the outfit with Kennelly, Denning, and Candelas. Logan Wade gets to start at third base, his first start. Harmon and Beresford up the middle. Very good defensive middle of the diamond. Hughes and De San Miguel round out the defense, and this team can play good defense.
Switch hitter, Frederick Cepeda, the 36-year-old, has done just about everything in his long career, and a great career on the international scene as well. And of course, here in Japan, he's been a star for the last few years. That one chopped up the middle, Beresford can't get it, and Cuba has a hit, and Cepeda is aboard, and that means Saupold has to face Alfredo Despaigne here with a runner on.
Cepeda bounces it past the second baseman into center field. I think Saupold is throwing a little bit harder than the infield might expect, and I think they need to play a little bit more opposite than normal. Then Beresford was shaded a little bit to the pull side at second, and they might want to straighten up a little bit. It looks like Saupold's got a pretty good fastball early in this game.
Well, Despaigne, much like Cepeda, a veteran in games like this, and he has been a much bigger star here in Japan. Despaigne walked a couple times against China, had a hit there, and a home run and 2 hits in a matchup against Japan.
Japan was really shutting down the Cuban offensively in that first game, and then Despaigne hit a leadoff home run in the 7th that sparked a 3-run inning. They got Cuba back into the game momentarily. There's that cutter that Saupold throws so well. The catcher, Alan de San Miguel, is setting up very late. Watch how he moves to the outside, but it was very late, almost after Saupold begins his delivery. The reason they're doing that is they have noticed that Cuba, if they see the catcher setting up early, Cuba will tip the hitter off inside or outside. Nothing really wrong with that. It happens all the time in the big leagues, but the catcher has to be aware you can't set up too early.
Two pitch coming. Breaking ball. Did he go? No. No swing. That's Fabrizio Fabrizi, the Italian umpire at first.
Couple close checks, swings, and Fabrizi, the first base umpire, has called no swing both times. I think he's got that one right with Despaigne. He checked his swing. He's a veteran. He gets a lot of breaking balls with 2 strikes, and he was able to check his swing on that ball in the dirt.
This means Cepeda will get a head start from first. And Despaigne gets a 3-2 pitch. It's Wade on a hop in time with help from Hughes at first. A great defensive play. Logan Wade's first start in the World Baseball Classic, and a beauty of a play with help from his mate at first. One of the best parts of last night's Australia-China game were our visits into the Australia cheering section. There were a couple kids last night that were just priceless. And we hope that they're awake and ready to go on a noon start in Tokyo. And a fastball from Lazaro Blanco is a strike to Trent Olchen.
I think the little guy last night with the 2 noisemakers that he was banging together, I think that's the shortstop's son, Brad Harmon, and he kept saying, "Daddy, Daddy," he wants his attention.
Olchen, a rip down the right field line, but it's going to hook foul into the excite seats, as they call them here at the Tokyo Dome.
Trent Olchen did not play in the game last night, but this veteran of the Australian national team was part of the 2004 Olympic team that lost to Cuba in Athens.
0-2, and Blanco strikes him out. World Baseball Classic 101, just to bring you up to speed. This is the final day of Pool B. Second round games here in Tokyo and San Diego. 2 teams advance from each pool. 2 teams from each semifinal site advance to Los Angeles. You have pitch count limits, and the ability to advance is in round robin. Once you get to Dodger Stadium, it is single elimination. 4 teams will get there. Cuba's never won it. Australia's never been to the second round. So this obviously an elimination game, huge, huge significance today in Tokyo. Logan Wade got an at bat last night and made a really nice play at third. All right, there he is. He's back. He's got the bats, and he's got the kangaroo with the boxing gloves. And there as well was another youngster who went wild on the James Beresford Grand Slam last night. Espanier surrounds it and makes the catch. Now on that last out on the bottom of the first inning, Alan D. San Miguel, the catcher, we watched how he was setting up, and especially with as powerful a hitter as Espanier, he wants to be very precise. And all of our focus went down to Logan Wade at third, who made a difficult play, and a great pick by Hughes. But D. San Miguel caught the brunt of that swing. In the follow-through, Despaigne clipped D. San Miguel. He didn't show any wear or tear when he got to the dugout. And he hits here with 2 outs and nobody on.
Espanier with that big swing as the follow-through and the backswing clipped the catcher. But it appears to be all right. De San Miguel's had a good tournament. He homered in game 1 and hit a double in last night's game. But you see the backswing and watch how that follow-through catches the catcher, De San Miguel, on the helmet, and that's the benefit of that hockey-style catcher's mask. You have a lot of protection to guard against those types of backswings.
Now you played in a different era. What did you wear behind the plate?
My baseball cap and a standard mask.
So in that case there, you would have been in some trouble there. A bat on the top of the head.
You see Morihon wears a traditional batting helmet underneath, and I never wore that. I always wore my regular baseball cap under my catcher's glove. I always felt like with that plastic helmet, your mask would pop off very quickly, but the hockey style mask, it is very good for the foul swings and those follow throughs. But many catchers that have tried them in the major leagues have suffered concussions because of those hockey style masks. And Mike Matheny, the manager of the Cardinals, really had to retire as a catcher because of multiple concussions suffered on those foul tips.
Boy, this guy just keeps hitting. D. San Miguel around first. Where have we seen this before? Him trudging into second. He did it on the home run in game 1, which he didn't realize went out. And he did it on a double last night against China. And here he is again with a double.
Another breaking ball, but this one stays inside. And I think that's one thing the Australians have noticed already from Blanco. With 2 strikes, you're going to get a breaking ball. And De San Miguel does a great job of staying on it. He keeps it fair inside the bag at third. De San Miguel plays for John Diebel in Australia. And he says, man, he's hitting like never before. He said from time to time I put him in the cleanup spot because he's a veteran of the minor league system in the States. But he is not noted for his bat so far in this series, a home run and 2 doubles.
And it gives Brad Harmon a big at bat with 2 outs. And Harmon has had a nice tournament so far. He doubled last night, walked twice, has a couple hits. And Blanco sinks it. A little change up. It came in low.
The Australians have a veteran major league hitter as their hitting coach, Kevin Jordan. Spent about 6 years in the big leagues with the Phillies. And you can bet he's given him some advice. Hey, man, don't look for the fastball. You're going to get breaking balls. So try to stay in the big part of the diamond and stay on the breaking balls.
Harmon in his 4th World Baseball Classic, a 31-year-old who got to the big leagues for just a spell with the world champion Phillies in 08. There's a fastball with some juice on it, and it misses outside.
But it was off the plate. He's not going to throw too many fastballs in the strike zone.
And you can see Blanco not only acknowledging his catcher, but also with some direction coming from the Cuban dugout. De San Miguel does not run well. He's at second. There's the breaking ball that misses in.
Now you would expect with a 3-1 count and a runner in scoring position that you might get a fastball. I don't think that's going to be the case for Harmon. Stay with your approach. Continue to look breaking ball.
Santos can throw in center, and remember you've got a Cespedes in right field. And low, a real nice at bat by Harmon. And with 2 outs, once again, Australia has runners first and second. And now David Candelas, who had a line drive hit to open the game, is the hitter.
Next batter, right fielder, David Candelas.
The Australians had 8 walks last night against Team China. Very patient at bats. Certainly a different caliber of pitcher they're facing today in Blanco, but John Diebel, the manager, they'll make adjustments midstream as to what they're seeing from their opposing pitcher, and you got to do it quickly.
Candelas out of Sydney. And he takes a strike. One of the better athletes on this ball club.
He had laid off in game 1 against Japan, dropped down to the 7th spot in game 2. He was 2 for 3, scored a couple of runs and had a walk against China.
See the pitch count too, that's a factor right now. 38 pitches, and it's only the second. That kind of backs up on a breaking ball for a strike. And Candelas behind in the count, 0-2.
Carlos Martí, the Cuban manager, is not too concerned about Blanco. He said, I trust him. He pitches for me in Cuba, and I know he's a veteran that's not going to give in to this lineup. Martí's concern is the pitcher or the pitchers that follow after Blanco's out of this game.
And that's why the pitch count is so important, because once it gets to 65, the guys he's concerned about take the ball.
Pitch efficiency is so important when you're playing in a tournament that features pitch count. You want quick outs. Travis Blackley did that last night, going 4 2/3 on just 48 pitches.
Fastball, and he's missed with that one twice.
He
It's
still
2-2.
hasn't thrown any fastballs in the strike zone.
Not a good split. And 41 total pitches, and he's not out of the second inning. Breaking ball popped up. Morejon, and he reaches and can't get it, and he goes over and into the Cuban dugout. You saw the ball pop up out of the glove, and then you saw Morejon disappear.
Well, what an effort by Morejon. The Cubans are in a jam here with 2 outs, and he knows he's got a chance to end the inning without throwing another pitch, and he goes right over the railing into the dugout.
Oh, no help from his teammates.
No help whatsoever, as he's right there, and none of his teammates come to the edge of the railing to help him out and protect him from falling into this dugout. You've seen it all the time when a catcher in the big leagues goes over to the rail. All the teammates and the coaches come out to make sure he doesn't fall hard into the dugout.
That looked like a visiting dugout, not his home dugout. 2-2 again. Candelas pops that one up on the infield. Graciel right at third base makes the catch. Well, Australia has stranded 4, but they've pushed the pitch count way up on Lazaro Blanco. Well, we told you about this right-hander out of Perth, Warwick Sappold, getting to the big leagues this year, Buck, and when he arrived, he had some success.
This is his second big league game. He's pitching in relief of Michael Fulmer, the terrific starter for the Tigers, and he racks up 4 strikeouts. You can see he's pumped up. He struck out Chris Davis, Mark Trumbull, Pedro Alvarez, and Nolan Raimel in his second big league game. He would be credited with the win. Baltimore scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first against Fulmer. Sappold came in and really quieted things down and was credited with his first and only big league win in that game on May 15th last summer.
As you saw there, he does get work in the offseason, the Major League offseason, in the Australian Baseball League. Last 7 years for the Perth Heat. He's been part of 4 ABL titles. But he has a nice future in the big leagues. Really nice numbers spread across 3 levels in the minor leagues last year. 7-2, a 2.25 ERA. 6 games with the Tigers. And an enormous game here for his country. Saavedra goes after a breaking ball and fouls it off. William Saavedra, the first baseman for Cuba. Kind of the, in the absence of many of the guys that were here in 13, Tomas, Abreu, Gurriel, Iglesias, Guerrero, Arubarruena. Saavedra getting a chance, and some veteran guys really getting their first taste, Buck, of getting on the top of the international stage for Cuba.
Well, there have been so many great players on this Cuban national team. Some of the older veterans on this team didn't get a chance to play. Last time Cuba was in the WBC, Jose Abreu was the first baseman.
Nice by Saavedra, taking an outside pitch and driving it to right field.
Well, he's a veteran. You mentioned he's 35 years old, so he stays on this outside pitch. It's another cutter that he stays with. Might have been a ball outside, but once the balance, he stays on it, extends, and drives it into the right for a 2-strike base hit.
This is another guy at the plate, Gracial, who's getting a chance to step onto the big stage internationally, and he has really responded. He's had an outstanding tournament.
Had a little power, and we saw him hit a couple of doubles to dead center against Japan, and then he really has cashed in with the extra base hit. 31 years old, charged with an error in game 1, but he's a pretty good defender. This could be 2.
It might be 2. Harmon Beresford, and a double play for Australia.
Well, anytime you can get 2 outs on 1 pitch, it's a real benefit in this pitch count tournament, and this is no problem at all. Harmon, a very good shortstop, turns it over to Beresford, a veteran of 10 minor league seasons with the Twins, and they make quick work of that grounder. That erases the impact of that leadoff single by Saavedra.
And again, pitch count important here. Saupold, one of the quality arms that Australia has. He's thrown 24 pitches, and he's got 2 outs here in the 2nd inning. In contrast, Lazaro Blanco, the ace of the Cuban staff, has thrown 43 pitches in just 2 innings. And remember, for a starter in round 1, 65 is the limit. Woo, look out. Now, there's a good reason here in Japan. Nice work by our cameraman. There's a good reason in Japan why they have the nets up. That one saved a bat from getting into the seats. And Saupold with a nice 2nd inning. Enormous game in the international scene and in this World Baseball Classic elimination game. James Beresford takes down low. The winner goes to round 2. The loser goes home. And you mix in an international rivalry between Australia and Cuba. And this is what you get, a scoreless game with a lot on the line. Lazaro Blanco, the Cuban pitcher, you can see his pitch count is rocketed up. And Beresford takes inside.
Yeah, the Australian hitters are very patient right now. They recognize that you're going to get a lot of breaking balls, and they can really keyhole making sure they get a pretty good pitch to hit.
Smacked into center field, and on a hop, it bounces off of Santos, but he keeps it in front of himself. He has been brilliant in center field in this tournament. Beresford settles for a single. And the Aussies have their 4th hit already.
Santos is a very good outfielder and a veteran. He's 29 years old, and watch how he smothers this ball. Once he recognizes he can't make a catch, he just tries to keep it in front of himself. If that gets by, obviously Beresford can go around first and head for second. He kind of broke out of the box anticipating that was going to be caught. But if that ball gets by Santos, no telling where Beresford might end up.
All right, 2nd time through for the Australian hitters. Buck, if you're Kevin Jordan, the hitting coach for Australia and the Australian hitters, what adjustments do you make?
Well, I think they've already recognized you got to look breaking ball. in a pivotal pitch during a particular at bat, he's not going to give you a fastball strike to hit.
Got a breaking ball and popped it up. Saavedra has plenty of room and makes the catch. And that really is how Blanco's been able to get outs, are balls in the air.
Well, early in the season, I don't care where you're playing baseball, but your timing is not going to be good enough to hit good breaking balls. That's why the Australian team has been on the fastball. They don't have many at-bats, and your fastball timing is much better, but it's very difficult to time up a good breaking ball. You can hit a hanger from time to time, but you're not going to have much success hitting those good breaking balls because you just haven't had enough at-bats and seen that pitch often enough.
Here is Mitch Denning, and he takes a fastball up. Denning had a deep count, a long at bat, and it ended with an infield hit on a dribbler out towards Carlos Benitez. Middle infield playing for two. You've got Beresford, the runner at first. Not a lot of team speed on Australia. Driven to right, down the line. Cespedes in foul territory makes the catch. And there's two down. In fact, Blanco does not have an out on the ground. He's got 3 pop-ups, a couple of fly ball outs, and a couple of strikeouts.
Well, the infield base hit by Mitch Denning was a little dribbler in the first inning, and that's basically the only ball that's been on the ground.
So Kennelly now, who flied out back in the first. Blanco has thrown to first a few times, has a quick delivery. Morejon, known as a good catch and throw guy, and as well, he calls a great game.
Yeah, but we don't know just how banged up he is after falling into the dugout, tracking down a pop-up. He catapulted over the railing into the bottom of that dugout on the first baseline, and he looked like he got banged up pretty good.
Both catchers have had a shot. Remember, DeSan Miguel got a bat on top of his head on a backswing.
You know, that's why when you have a catcher like Buster Posey or Russell Martin, go back to Johnny Bench, to the late great Thurman Munson, anybody that can hit while catching a full season is pretty remarkable, giving all the bumps and bruises you take during the course of a regular season.
And I think that's why modern day, a lot of clubs are trying to find a way to get guys like Posey, like Wieters, guys like that out from behind the plate, find some place where they can take some days off from squatting and getting beat up and keep their bat in the lineup.
A lot of teams are taking the position as a two-man position, where you get a guy that can catch 50 or 60 games on a regular basis.
There's a great example of what you talked about, Buck. A look at DeSan Miguel. Fastball count, but no fastball. A breaking ball that missed outside.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough fastball to really challenge these hitters with hitter counts. So he's got to pitch backwards, if you will.
There's a rare fastball down the middle of the plate.
Yeah, I don't think you can expect another one on this 3-1 count. He just knows that he has to keep him off stride, and the big number up top of your screen, 54 pitches. He's getting very close to that pitch limit.
65 is the limit. Runner goes, pitch is in. Another breaking ball, and now Australia, for the 3rd consecutive inning, has runners first and second and 2 outs. That was a good pitch to run on because, as you pointed out, you're expecting breaking ball. And here's Olchin now. Cuba's bullpen well aware of the pitch count, and you've got a righty and a lefty. This is a game 7, essentially. This is an elimination game. So Carlos Marti and John Diebel will not hesitate if there's any struggles.
Both Garcia and Yera have pitched previously in this tournament.
Olchin, fastball in the outside corner for a strike. He struck out back in the 2nd. Another one of these Australian players that has minor league and major league experience. And as Buck pointed out, he was part of that 2004 gold medal game against Cuba in the Olympics. Goes after a changeup, fights it off, and now Blanco's in control at 0-2.
But here's where Ochin really has to shorten up and use that phrase we heard many years ago, protect the plate. Just got to put the ball in play here. Even if he throws you a fastball, it's not going to be a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and you should be able to fight it off and foul it off possibly. But I don't think you have to sell out thinking that you're going to get a fastball. Stay on the breaking ball.
Beresford at second. And Kennelly is at first. In the dirt.
78 miles an hour, and it might have been a changeup. He just bounced in the dirt.
The Australian fans are not as vocal or fired up as they were last night. Now, things could change in a hurry. And maybe it has to do with the noon start.
I know.
Off-speed pitch, foul back to the screen.
Ochin stayed on that pitch pretty well, but he missed it, just fouled it off. In your mind right now, you're saying, okay, well, I was on that breaking ball, and he should switch to a fastball. I think if you do that, you're in trouble. You got to stick with the plan. Stay on the breaking ball.
See what he gets, 1-2.
The Cuban outfielders throw very well, so anytime you can shorten up a base runner in scoring position, that might buy you a couple of extra feet at home plate if there's a base hit. Santos in center charges the ball very well and throws well. Cespedes has an exceptional arm in right field.
Pitch number 60. And it misses. Todd Tishner, Major League umpire, is behind home plate. And so now, Australia, they don't have a run, but they have succeeded in pushing the pitch count up on the Cuban ace. And he's got 5 pitches in his holster now. Ochin ready, 2-2 coming. In the dirt, and this patient Australian team has worked deep count after deep count.
It's really important with a 3-2 count and 2 outs. Now the runners will get a head start on the pitch, and if there is a base hit, that'll give Beresford a much better opportunity to score.
Kennelly is the trail runner. Beresford at second. And the 3-2. He missed, and they're loaded. And again, fastball count, no fastball.
Carlos Marti, the manager, making his way very slowly out of the Cuban dugout. The pitch count is at 62, and in fact, Blanco could begin this at bat and finish up facing the current hitter. But it looks like Marti is going to make a pitching change and try to get a new look in here to shut down this Australian scoring threat. That's going to be it for Blanco.
Yeah, let's see if he goes lefty-lefty. Logan Wade, a switch hitter. We'll see. Scoreless here. Bags loaded. That's the ace of the Cuban team, Lazaro Blanco, and he's out of the game here in the third. His pitch count at 62, and the bags loaded. And Carlos Marti decides to go with his little lefty, who had some good moments in his first appearance here in the World Baseball Classic.
He came into the ball game against Japan in game 1 of this tournament and got out of a scoring situation in the second. Had a 1-2-3 third, but then he ran into trouble in the 4th inning. He gave up an RBI double to Yamada That was the contested play that the umpires had to go to review to determine fan interference in the left. So Marte now reminding his pitcher, come set and throw strikes, trying to get out of this jam and save these runs for Blanco. Yerra's got a pretty good fastball, and this might play right into the Australian team's pocket because of the way they hit the fastball. And you can bet you're going to get a fastball from Yerra at some point in this at bat.
Wade, a switch hitter, flips over right-handed. And there's a fastball at the letters for a strike. Yerra's numbers outstanding this past season in Serie Nacional. 13-2, a 2.41 ERA, 123 strikeouts, just 26 walks. And he snaps one off and is out in front quickly, 0-2.
Yeah, he's got a good breaking ball, and he set it up by throwing that 86-mile-an-hour fastball on the first pitch. I think Morillon is going to continue to try to end at bats with breaking balls against this Team Australia lineup. Probably bounce a breaking ball in the dirt. Morillon's very good at blocking balls in the dirt.
Bags loaded. Scoreless game, elimination game. Swing and a miss. Morillon will step on the plate, and the inning is over. Now Australia gets rid of Lazaro Blanco. Now they have to deal with Yoenis Yerra in a scoreless game. We talked about the international rivalry between these two countries. Here's a great example, Buck.
You see the home run hit by Cespedes. That was in the 6th inning, and then Peraza comes off the bench to hit a 2-run home run to give Cuba the lead. That was against Rich Thompson in the 8th inning. That was an interesting game, and obviously with Aroldis Chapman starting for Cuba, Travis Blackley started for Australia. That was the second game in the first round of that pool in Mexico City in 2009.
Now Cuba going to work. Nice butt. Morillon off the mound. Sappold is there, and he fires the first in time. Cuba trying to get base runners. There's our young lad who was going bananas last night.
After the Beresford home run went out of the ballpark, he was surprised to see it carry, and once it hit the seats, he went bananas and went viral in Australia with his excitement.
He was so excited, I thought maybe John Diebel would bring him into the clubhouse for a pregame speech. I mean, when he glared in the camera and yelled, "Come on," you could just feel the pride in his country and the emotion. And here they are, Australia and Cuba meeting with the stakes high. Yoelqui Cespedes, the number 9 hitter, and a good pitch from Sappold. Jams Cespedes. Really our first look on the international stage for Cespedes, and what we've seen has been impressive. And talking to scouts as well around this Pool B first round, they like him as well, and Cespedes can't hold up. And Sappold has been in control from the very start. This is his 3rd strikeout. His pitch count low as well.
This is that hard cutter down and away. Cespedes with 2 strikes chases a bad pitch, and that's the 3rd strikeout. One time through the order, Sappold has done a nice job of using all of his pitches, and he's got enough fastball. He's hit 92, 93 with his heater so far in this ball game.
Santos lines it into center field, and with blazing speed, he's a threat to run with 2 outs.
Two-out single for Santos, and you can bet Sappold's going to have to keep his eye on him because he is a threat to run. De Miguel, the catcher, de San Miguel, is a very good catch and throw guy, and he's more noted for his defense than he is for his bat.
That's like a degree that you earn in baseball college. Did you earn your degree as a good catch and throw guy?
Well, you've seen me hit, so you know I can't hit.
So I would expect an advanced degree in that. All right, you can see a foot on the turf. Sappold going to have to hold him close.
Well, this is where Sapol's major league experience really serves him well. He's patient on the mound. He understands that he has control of this situation. He can hold the ball, freeze Santos, and give his catcher an opportunity should he break for second.
Not running. And DeSan Miguel, a nice job of blocking. No swing. And it's 1-0. Australia able to get the Cuban ace out of the game. Lazaro Blanco is gone. And Sapol is here with 33 pitches. The limit is 65 in this opening round. And this is the last day of the opening round here in Tokyo. Little tapper to first. Hughes gets to the bag. And Warwick Sapol has slowed down Cuba for 3 innings. Scoreless in an elimination game. Part of Major League Baseball's investment in Australia was in 2014, the opening series in Sydney, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. And looks like a great Major League field. That's actually the Sydney Cricket Grounds, which was turned into the Sydney Baseball Ground. And baseball, as we've talked to in this tournament in Australia, is booming right now and really starting to grow. They have a great Little League program there. They have an automatic qualifier Little League right into the Little League World Series. That's how well respected it is. 50% of the primary schools in Australia also have a baseball program.
In that series in 2014, Clayton Kershaw opened up the season for the Dodgers, pitching against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Wade Miley. LA won the game 3-1. There were only 5 hits in the game. Kershaw went 6 2/3 and struck out 7 in the season opener in 2014.
Major League Baseball also has opened an academy in Australia, has helped fund. That kid is a star. And how about the series that this guy continues to have? Alan DeSan Miguel hit under 200 in his minor league stops last year in AA and AAA. And he's been the hitting hero for Australia in every game.
Boy, he sure has. And John Diebel, as we mentioned, is his manager in Australia. And Diebel has been thrilled with the production he's gotten from his catcher. He's hit 2 doubles. He's homered. And he is on base once again.
Here's Brad Harmon. Harmon goes after a pitch and pops it into shallow left center. Despaigne is there, and he makes the catch. Speaking of Diebel, we've just showed you that the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, we told you about all the good things that are happening with Australian baseball. But John Diebel will tell you, and his entire coaching staff will tell you, a win in this game will do an awful lot for the program and baseball in Australia as well.
Yeah, and don't be mistaken if you think the Aussies are just happy to be here. John Diebel and the coach behind him in the glasses, that's Craig Shipley, a former Major League player. They are playing to advance baseball in Australia, and a win in this game would be tremendous in raising the awareness of baseball across the country.
Candelas now singled and popped out. You've got a catcher running at first in DeSan Miguel. You know, the other thing too, and we've talked about it in the first 2 games, the shift in Australian baseball to try to get the 17 and the 18-year-old, 19-year-old prospects, rather than signing at that age, get them to college programs. Let them play 3 or 4 years at a high-powered university where they can develop and then enter the minor league system. I mean, the basketball program in Australia has been so successful. The Bogats, the Dellavedovas playing college ball in the United States and then getting to the NBA. Patty Mills, those guys.
Craig Shipley was actually recruited by the Blue Jays and taken to Toronto in 1984 when I was playing. And he came up to Toronto without any baseball gear. They had a uniform for him, had a locker for him. Bobby Maddock, the great scout for the Blue Jays, and John McLaren, the manager of Team China, went down to Tuscaloosa, brought him up to Toronto, and he worked out with us. Bobby Cox was the manager. Jimmy Williams was the third base coach, and Shipley said it was a tremendous feeling. I got to take infield standing next to Tony Fernandez right before a major league game as a college player. It was a tremendous experience for Shipley.
But the key there is he was a college player. He had that seasoning in the colleges and then played 11 years in the major leagues. Candelas now, and Hierra's fastball is up, and Australia has drawn 2 more walks here in the 4th. And here comes Beresford, and you got lefty on lefty now. Yoenis Hierra against the second baseman for Australia.
Pitching coach has come out of the Cuban dugout. He's making a very deliberate, slow walk to the mound. And the Aussies had 8 walks in their game.
Lo mismo que decimos nosotros.
The bullpen, a lot of fresh arms down. And remember, Cuba had an off day yesterday, same as Japan, while Australia was playing last night. So they've got some fresh arms. That's the pitching coach out to talk to Hierra, trying to convince him, hey, you got to be aggressive. These guys are very patient right now. Let's see if we can't get ahead with a fastball and change the whole look of these at-bats. That's Avila, the pitching coach for the veteran manager, Carlos Marti.
Who is decidedly different from the man that he took over for, Victor Mesa, who was as animated a manager as you'll find, part Lou Piniella, part Billy Martin.
Mesa was the manager for a long time for Villa Clara, his hometown team. He has since moved to Matanzas in the Serie Nacional in Cuba.
All right, Beresford has popped out and singled. Australia has had runners on base and lots of them. They've already stranded 7. First pitch breaking ball, and it's 0-1. You got Luke Hughes on deck, Beresford here.
We've talked about how you don't see many shifts in this tournament simply because there's not enough information on the hitters you're facing.
Breaking ball, Beresford to center field. Back goes Santos. De San Miguel will tag. Santos has a good arm, and it's only a bluff. And the Aussies, with 2 outs now, still have runners first and second.
Now, this is a very big at-bat, obviously, for Australia, and they've got their big hitter from last night's game, Luke Hughes, at the plate. Hughes has struck out on a slider and popped out in foul ground on another breaking ball. So he's going to have to show an awful lot of patience here. If you're looking for a breaking ball, you better make sure it's a strike.
That was against Lazaro Blanco. It's his first at-bat against Hierra. Is Hierra more likely to throw a fastball than Blanco was?
I don't think he'll do it early in the at-bat. I think he'll try to get him to chase a breaking ball first.
See what he gets. Up with a fastball.
He threw the fastball up, not intended to be a strike. Morillon, a very veteran, experienced catcher behind the plate, is well aware that Hughes is sitting on a fastball.
Hierra, a starter and a really good one in Serie Nacional. Breaking ball, he was on it.
He was on it. He was looking breaking ball and had a pretty good hack at it, but fouled it back out of play. So now the wheels are spinning in Hughes' mind. Okay, I got the breaking ball, but boy, he had a good pitch to hit and got underneath it. You look for another breaking ball. Hierra's got a little bit better fastball than many of the Cuban pitchers. He's got enough heat to run that ball upstairs. .85, but out of the strike zone. Now, do they fall in a pattern, come right back with a breaking ball? Hughes has got to be thinking that way.
At 85, can you sit breaking ball because the fastball isn't mid-90s?
I think you have to sit breaking ball with 2 outs with a chance to drive in a run.
And Morillon already threw one sequence of signs. And Hughes steps out Hughes a great interview last night after the game. A 2-run homer, a long one, long one, and a 2-run double. Breaking ball, Hughes, left field line, and that one is foul.
Yeah, he got the breaking ball once again, a little bit slower curveball that time, and he was out in front, but to me it looks like he's looking breaking ball, and I think he's got to stick to that plan. Just try to fight off an 85-mile-an-hour fastball should you get it. But I think they want to retire Hughes on a breaking pitch.
Now the crowd is not big right now, but with Japan playing tonight and a day admission, this place, little by little, will start to fill up. And it'll fill in here in the 4th. 2-2 coming to Luke Hughes.
There's that breaking ball. Remember when Yera came into the game last inning, he threw a 3-2 breaking ball to Logan Wade to strike him out to end the threat.
Boy, Australia has left 7 through 3, and it seems like every inning has ended on a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs and runners moving. And so here is Hughes, D. San Miguel from second, Kindelis from first, on the move.
Hughes is still looking soft. He was able to get the bat on the ball, but he's still looking soft. Watch how he stays back here. Had a big swing and fouls it out of play. To me, that's the right approach. Looking out at the pitcher, says, I got you, man. Now he's got to cash it in.
Mitchell Denning, a left-handed bat, on deck. So we'll do it again, 3-2. 2 outs, elimination game, scoreless so far. And another off-speed pitch and another foul ball. This is a great battle. This is how Australia extracted Lazaro Blanco, the ace of the Cuban staff, from this ball game. And that is deep counts, patience. Pitch number 8 in this at-bat is coming up.
Yera threw 47 pitches in his relief appearance in game 1. 3 innings. He was charged with 3 earned runs on 3 hits.
3-2 again. Fastball, got him. Well, he threw the fastball and got it by Hughes. 9 left for Australia. World Baseball Classic, Pool B in Tokyo. And this is the last day of Pool B. Elimination game, Tokyo Bay. And look at this, scoreless. Australia has had great opportunities. They've left 9 men on base. Warwick Sappold has thrown well. And for the second time through, Frederick Cepeda, Alfredo Despagne, and Willen Saavedra get a look at Sappold, the right-hander out of Perth. Property of the Detroit Tigers, got to the big leagues last year. Has had great numbers on his way up the Tigers organization.
Australia, strikeouts, flyouts, no groundouts for Australia, but Sappold's done a terrific job of taking the sting out of the Cuban bats, keeping the ball on the ground.
And he misses out. And the count now 3-1.
Cepeda got a 2-out single to center his first time up. And he's got some pop.
Sappold at 43 pitches. And he walks Cepeda. So the first walk issued. The Cuban fans are here.
Ready? ¡Pablo el camionero! ¡Vamos, Cuba! ¡Pablo el camionero!
See, Buck, I think that was worth the wait. You know, it like a 5-second delay for those guys to engage. And once they got going, it might be hard to find a good cup of Cuban coffee here in Tokyo. But apparently he's found it.
Yeah. Very good fans, obviously, and they travel around the world to watch their team play.
All right, Sappold has been able to get ground balls. He got one out of Espana in the first. He used a double play ball to erase a base runner in the second. And this is a dangerous, dangerous hitter. He has starred for 3 years here in Japan. Just signed a 3-year contract with the SoftBank Hawks of Fukuoka. Played for 3 years with Chiba Lode. Raw power, 4-time MVP in the Cuban League. A 5'9", 230-pound powerhouse.
The Australians believe they've got to pitch him inside, tie him up, don't let him get those arms extended. He's got a lot of power to the opposite field.
Whew. Arms extended, but no contact, and a strikeout for Sappold. Baseball, Major League Baseball in Cuba. The Tampa Bay Rays. Major League Baseball sending Joe Torre and the Rays, President Obama, and the First Lady, the first family were there. Many of these players played in that game against the Rays.
They sure did, and William Saavedra was the cleanup hitter in that game. And obviously, a rich baseball tradition in Cuba. And early on, the Havana Sugar Kings were in the AAA International League. And baseball continues to thrive in Cuba. The problem that they have seen with this national team, many of their great stars have defected and come to the major leagues. There's that good curveball from Sappold. And he can really pitch. We mentioned he appeared with the Tigers last year, went 1-1, but he suffered a groin injury and spent 6 weeks on the DL. He was placed on a DL on the 1st of June, didn't come off till after the All-Star break.
0-2. Hit him. Saavedra's hit on a fastball that runs up and in. And Cuba now has runners first and second. This is their best opportunity in this elimination game. There you go, Buck. It's the old school cold spray for Saavedra's left wrist.
They run that fastball inside. It gets away from Sappold and hits Saavedra. And obviously 0-2. You don't want to hit a batter. You got him most vulnerable. But that'll put 2 runners on for Cuba for the first time in this game and give them their first scoring opportunity. And a very hot hitter in this tournament, yes, Yurispel Garciel, the third baseman who grounded into a double play his first time up, will step to the plate.
So this is the first real turbulence that Sappold has felt. And with 1 out, Graciel, a hitting star in the first 2 games for Cuba, bounces it up the middle into center field. That's a hit. Dennis up with it. They'll hold the runner, and it's cut off in the middle of the diamond. Remember that Cepeda running. He doesn't have great speed, but still a bit of a surprise that the runner was held.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. Denning was deep in center field, respecting the power of Graciel. But Cepeda, very advanced in his experience. He's also had knee surgery, but he breaks on contact, puts his head down. But the third base coach throws up the stop sign. And the Australians still have a chance to get out of it. Graciel bounces it up the middle. It was a ground ball, but finds its way into center.
You saw that replay that Cepeda got a clean break and was at third in plenty of time. So from the stretch, infield back for 2. Here's Carlos Benitez, and he goes after a fastball, and it's 0-1.
One of the better fastballs from Sappold is 91 miles an hour, but he'd be well advised to get the ball down in this situation.
And he gets a strike on a check swing foul ball. It is 0-2. This is the best opportunity, obviously, for Cuba. Australia has left 9 runners on. And Australia's bullpen is up. Looks like Lachlan Wells.
Well, you know, I mean,
the lefty is up. Soppold now, 0-2 pitch coming. Breaking ball and a great job by D. San Miguel to smother it.
D. San Miguel, a very good catcher, had called for the breaking ball, so he's anticipating a bad pitch in the dirt. I think that sets up a cutter right here after a couple of fastballs to jump ahead. Then he threw the curveball in the dirt. I think he comes right back with a cutter down and away now.
Infield back for 2, 1-2. Breaking ball, ground ball, a comebacker, home for 1. On to first for a double play. And Saffold pumps his fist. And Australia escapes the 4th. Alan D. San Miguel, the hitting hero so far, turns the double play. And this elimination game is still scoreless. Mitchell Denning opens the 5th for Australia, and he takes down low from Yoenis Yera. Boy, how about Sappold, his reaction. 4 innings, he's at 50 pitches, 65 the limit, so Buck, he's probably got an inning left.
Yeah, at least an inning. What a terrific job by Sappold to get out of a bases loaded situation. When you get there, you're always thinking, okay, give me a comebacker. Let me start that 1-2-3 double play. And that was exactly what Australia was hoping for.
Denning to be followed by Tim Kennelly, and Trent Olchen pitches down low. If you're just joining us, this is one of the special moments in the World Baseball Classic when you get an elimination game plus an international rivalry with a great history and a heated history between 2 countries, Australia and Cuba. Winner gets to round 2, loser goes home. And remember last year, Buck, Cuba went home from Tokyo, and it wasn't a pretty sight, and that was the 2nd round loss to the Netherlands. Here's that play again.
The curveball tapped right back to the mound. Soppold takes his time to give a good feed to the catcher, Alan de San Miguel, who takes his time, clears the throwing lane, and ends the inning with a double play. And if you don't think these players are fired up about this tournament, you're sadly mistaken.
Well, it's everything, right? It's the tournament. Australia's never been to the 2nd round. Cuba has been their nemesis on the international stage. The gold medal game in the '04 Olympics. That big comeback by Cuba in the 2009 World Baseball Classic in Mexico. And so here they are, and many of the players in uniform for Australia were either watching that '04 game or part of the program as they started to develop. Many were part of that '09 game. As Buck, you talked about all the great names on both sides that played in that '09 game as well.
Aroldis Chapman started for Cuba in that game. Hector Oliveira, Frederick Cepeda, Yulieski Gurriel, Yoenis Cespedes. It was a terrific Cuban lineup. Travis Blackley started that game in Mexico City.
Some good names for Australia in that game as well.
Yeah, it was a very good ball game and a disappointing outcome for Team Australia. Peraza came off the bench, hit a 2-run home run in the 8th inning to give Cuba a 5-4 win.
Kennelly has flied out and walked. Check swing, and he fouls it off.
One thing we have to remember is that Australia had a chance to beat Japan in game 1. They lost 4-1 to Japan, but it was a 1-1 game in the 5th with the bases loaded and 1 out when James Beresford grounded into an inning-ending double play. And after that, Australia would get just 1 more base runner the rest of the game.
And that theme has continued here. The Aussies have left 9 through 4. They left the bags loaded in the third and 2 men in the first, the second, and the fourth. They knocked out Lazaro Blanco, the ace of the Cuban staff, who threw 62 pitches through 2 2/3 innings. Little lefty Yoenis Yera is on now, and Yera turns his back on home plate. He thought he had the strike.
Well, he sure did. Major League umpire Todd Tishner's behind the plate. Yera threw that fastball down and away to Kennelly. Thought it was strike 3 and showed his displeasure with the call by turning his back on home plate.
Got him. There's the breaking ball. And down goes Kennelly. Yera continues to frustrate Australia.
This is a good slider down and in, and Kennelly swings over the top of it. Remember, early in this game, the starter Lazaro Blanco used a lot of breaking balls with 2 strikes to neutralize this lineup.
Yera, who pitched in game 1, is up to 32 pitches here. And now Olchen climbs in. Denning is at first, and he's running on the pitch, taken outside, and he is in there. A stolen base on a slow breaking ball.
Mitch Denning picked a good pitch to run on. Morejon's got a strong arm, made a good throw. Denning gets a good jump at first base. High leg kick from Yera. You can see Denning a straight steal all the way. The throw is on time, but a little bit late. High throw tagged by Ayala, and the Aussies have another runner in scoring position.
You can hear the time asked for by Olchen, who is the DH. You've got a switch hitter and Logan Wade on deck.
Yera's looking at the shortstop Ayala to say, hey man, you got to keep him close. Don't let him get a walking lead toward third.
Boy, the Aussies would love to get a runner at third with less than 2 outs. Anything they can do to manufacture a run. They've left 9 on base in 4 innings. Ball and a strike. Olchen, big league experience with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. He played in that gold medal game back in 2004. And the fastball is up. Count it 2-1.
Again, another reminder how well the Cuban outfielders throw. The right fielder, Cespedes, has a cannon. He really charges the ball well. Santos throws well in the center. The Cespedes has got the best arm in the outfield.
Two-one is line to center field. Santos in flight makes the catch. And back to second goes Denning. It's a good at bat by Olchen, but there's 2 outs now. And here is Wade, who gets the start in place of Stephen Welch in this ball game. Wade got an at bat last night at the end of the game, and Welch had had his struggles in the first 2 games.
Wade struck out against Yera, the first batter Yera faced. That ended the 3rd inning. Yera threw him a breaking ball in the dirt, and he chased.
Fastball up. It's kind of been the pattern for Yera. Show the fastball and show it up above the letters. 1-0. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Denning around third. Despaign's throw, and he's in there. And the Aussies draw first blood.
Time and time again, Australia put base runners in scoring position, and this time they come through. Logan Wade with a 2-out base hit. Graciel couldn't knock it down. The throw from Despaigne is just a little bit off the mark and late. And Logan Wade getting the start in this third game for Australia has given the Aussies a 1-0 lead.
And here is Alan D. San Miguel, who has doubled and walked. And you've got Wade at first. Remember, the Australians just stole second off of Yera, and he'll go to first as a result of that.
The leadoff walk to Denning, and then the stolen base puts a runner in scoring position, and they were able to cash it in. Moinello has been throwing almost the entire game down in their bullpen.
D. San Miguel lines one in the gap in left center field. Wade around second will hold. Santos got to the gap and got to the ball quickly. And Australia not only has the lead, but they've got 2 runners on with 2 outs. And D. San Miguel, if we were to name an MVP, this is the guy.
He has had the tournament of his life. This is his second hit of the day. He's been on base all 3 times. He gets another fastball and rips it in. He is absolutely locked in with the bat. Another great approach from D. San Miguel, not known for his hitting prowess, but what a tournament he has had.
Pitching change. Australia is on the board. In the 5th, a 1-0 lead. Logan Wade's first start here in the World Baseball Classic has turned into a big one as he's given Australia the lead and knocked Yoenis Yera out of the ballgame. And the emotions on both sides. You've seen Australia and their emotions on the double play last inning and the run. And you see Yera frustrated, out of the game. Vladimir Garcia takes over for Cuba. 3rd pitcher already for Cuba. We told you this is a Game 7. The winner of this game goes to the next round. The loser gets a ticket home.
Second appearance of the tournament for Vladimir Garcia.
Brad Harmon takes a fastball for a strike.
Garcia pitched 2 good innings in the 6-0 win over China. Had a walk and a couple of strikeouts.
Now Wade's got some speed at second. You've got D. San Miguel at first for Australia. Outfield's not too deep. And Garcia's out in front 0-2.
Logan Wade, who came up with the big hit, spent 5 seasons in the minors of the Minnesota Twins. Last year he was in the Florida State League at Fort Myers. Got into 55 games. He's got over 1,000 at-bats in the minor leagues for Minnesota.
Sharp breaking ball, and Garcia ends the Australian 5th. But the Aussies are on the board halfway through in an elimination game, 1-0. Frank Morejon for Cuba, and it's Lachlan Wells who comes out of the bullpen for Australia after 4 innings of Warwick Sappold, 4 scoreless innings. Morejon, Yoki Cespedes, and Raul Santos for Cuba. Hot smash, foul ball, just wide of third. That had extra bases on it, had it just snuck in the line. Suwon Choi, the umpire, down at third. And here's Wells, a minor leaguer, the guy we've seen before, had a really nice year at Single A.
Pitched well in the game against Japan. Pitched 2 clean innings. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 2. Numbers from A-ball in the Midwest League.
And you know, there's still some mystery about the Australian bullpen, back end of the bullpen. There's some quality arms that we haven't seen in games 1 and 2.
Peter Moylan hasn't pitched yet. Ryan Rowland-Smith hasn't pitched yet, so they've got a few weapons in reserve.
And Wells, who's got a twin brother also pitching in the Baltimore Orioles organization, gets a strikeout there. There's the Aussie bullpen, Peter Moylan. Ryan Rowland-Smith, as you noted. Both of those guys, major league experience, major league success. And that big guy in the shot is Graham Lloyd. Talk about success at the major league level. Lloyd in the black pullover there, banging his spikes on the concrete.
Graham Lloyd was part of the 2004 Australian Olympic team that lost to Cuba in that gold medal game. John Deva was the coach of that team, and he has been involved with each of these 4 World Baseball Classics as the manager for Team Australia.
Tell you what, Lachlan Wells has been all about challenging hitters.
Yeah, Wells came into the ball game with runners at the corners in the 5th inning, gave up a sac fly to Matsuda as Japan tied the game at 1-1. But he did a terrific job. He had a 1-2-3 6th inning. He struck out Kikuchi, the second baseman, and got Tsutsugo on a curveball. So he has had success. He's got confidence, and he's got a good game under his belt.
No swing. Yoke Cespedes struck out in the 3rd. And again, we have to keep reminding ourselves, this is a 19-year-old kid. And Cespedes has opened a lot of eyes here in Tokyo with scouts from all over the world. That's a foul ball. Wade has had a couple of close ones down at 3rd base.
Cespedes has been playing for the Cuban national team since he was 17. And much like his brother, he is a very gifted athlete. He can do everything on a baseball field. He can run, he can throw, he can hit, and eventually he's going to hit with power.
I love the advice his brother gave him about playing in this event.
Yeah, his brother told him, and his brother, of course, is Yoenis Cespedes. He said, be patient at the plate. Get a good pitch to hit. There he gets a fastball and can't make contact. 90 miles an hour with the heater, and Wells with a couple of strikeouts to start his outing here this afternoon.
Buck Martinez, we are obligated to tell you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent. And that translates across all nations, all languages.
Very good ball game here, obviously, and back to the top of the order. Santos had a 2-out single his last time up back in the 3rd.
He's had a dynamite tournament as well. 5 hits in 9 at-bats, and a couple times we've seen him run up and take that swinging bunt, that slap, and just turn it over to that blazing speed. Wells gets a strike.
I love the way Wells gets the ball back, toes the rubber, and is anxious to throw the next pitch, keeping the pressure on this Cuban lineup.
That's a strike. Well, Wells, in his 2 seasons in the Twins organization in Single A, has a 1.90 ERA. And his strikeout per 9 innings is 8.5. So there's bright future for this young guy into center field. That's scorched. Better pick it up quickly. Santos will take second. He holds at first. So now you've got an opportunity, if you're Cuba, with speed at first and 2 outs, to try to get second.
Another 2-out base hit for Santos, and he's hustling out of the box just in case there's a bobble in center. So 1-0 ball game. Santos with terrific speed aboard, representing the tying run. He was on his last time up with 2 outs and never really got a good lead at first with Sample on the mound. It'll be interesting as he's dealing with a lefty pitcher now. shorter lead to begin with against Wells. Sometimes you'll see good base runners like Santos take a one-way lead, get all the way on the turf just to draw a throw to get a look at the pickoff move of the pitcher. He's got about an extra foot on his lead now.
Ayala trying to lift, and he missed, and I think he wants a little more stick him on the bats. You've got that stick, that little pine tar. No batting gloves for him.
The Australian catcher, Alan de San Miguel, had to take note of that first swing. I mean, he was all over the fastball. I think you throw him a breaking ball right now and you'll get a swing.
There's the breaking ball and there's the swing.
Yeah, and I think he did a good job. I mean, this catcher is a seasoned veteran of the minor leagues, and he's been known for his ability to handle pitchers. Right now, I think you call for a breaking ball in the dirt, and you might get Ayala to chase. You got to be confident you can block it with the runner at first base and 2 outs, but go ahead and call that hook after Wells has picked up a couple of strikeouts on the fastball.
I like the emoji on the wristband for de San Miguel. Backhanded there. Wade bobbled it and now holds it on a scorcher off the bat of Ayala.
Going to be a tough play for Wade. It's an infield hit. He went to the foul line, gloved it, but then dropped it as he was about to reach into his glove to make the throw. Knocks it down, gloves it, drops it, and wisely chooses not to make a bad throw. Ayala hits it hard to the backhand side of the third baseman, and Cuba has a couple of 2-out hits.
And now a real test for young Lachlan Wells, and it comes in the form of Frederick Cepeda, the 36-year-old veteran hitter who's done so much damage in a Cuban uniform. And behind him, a right-handed bat in Alfredo Despagne. Cepeda, a switch hitter.
Cepeda, nearing the end of his career, doesn't have the bat speed he once had. And Wells might have enough fastball to get in on him here.
See what he gets at 1-0.
Changeup in the dirt. I don't know that I would throw Cepeda an off-speed pitch in this situation. A veteran hitter, always aware of getting a lot of breaking balls. He can handle a breaking ball in the strike zone.
If you throw a fastball, where do you throw it?
I'm going to crowd him. I want it in. Belt high and above.
Let's see what they do. 2-0. First and second for Cuba. There's the fastball, and it did crowd him. So now you're 3-0. Now you've got to look. We talk about Cepeda and all the things that he's done in his long career. If you're Carlos Marti, is it a green light here?
Absolutely.
All right.
You let him swing. He gets a pitch to hit. You want him swinging here.
Let's see what he gets. 3-0. He is swinging and he fouls it back.
Yeah, too much experience to put the shackles on Cepeda. Give him a chance to have 3 big swings in this crucial at bat.
And I guess now a real test for Wells on how confident he is in his off-speed stuff. Cepeda on that fastball fouled it back. Now the 3-1. Another fastball, and the youngster has come back to run the count full 3-2.
Boy, again, we have pointed out so many situations during the course of this tournament. The beauty of the World Baseball Classic. You've got an A-ball pitcher going up against a seasoned worldwide professional in Cepeda. He's played here in Japan last couple of years, a big-time hitter, one of the best hitters ever produced out of Cuba. And you've got a Midwest League pitcher with the game on the line here in the middle of the game.
Well, one of the advantages that Wells has, too, is he's 20, and in the offseason, he goes back and pitches in the Australian Baseball League. So he's got some seasoning, but certainly not the credentials of this guy. Look at the damage he's done in his World Baseball Classic career. Full count, 2 outs, first and second on the move. And a breaking ball, and there was the off-speed pitch.
Yeah, and De San Miguel went out to the mound and they discussed that pitch and said, you know what, let's see if we can't get a breaking ball over here. But now I'd go right back to the fastball. Even on a 3-2 count, I just think that Wells has enough fastball to end this at bat.
Santos and Ayala will be moving. Good speed for Cuba. Another 3-2. Oh, just missed. Wells froze. Cepeda walks.
Well, the veteran Cepeda takes a close pitch for ball 4. Second walk he has been issued here this afternoon. He's been on base all 3 times.
So, from one international star to another, Alfredo Despaigne, still in the prime of his career at 30, is 0 for 2 here. Blasted a deep home run against Japan to right center. He has immense power to the opposite field and to center field. And the bags are loaded. There's no place to put him.
Really interesting that John Diebel has given the young left-hander this at bat. Bases loaded, trying to protect a 1-0 lead. Australia has some veteran right-handed pitchers in their bullpen, but he has left it in the hands of his 20-year-old lefty.
1-0 pitch. Ooh, and that's Despaign's happy zone. Fastball out over the plate, arms extended. It's 1-1.
Trying to come inside, and you're right, Rich. They missed out over the plate. They're flirting with danger there. Despaigne loves to extend his arms out over the plate, drive it to the opposite field.
Here's the 1-1. And he bounced it up there. A changeup. We haven't seen a lot of changeups, but we do see Australia's bullpen, a righty and a lefty. Now the bullpens are hidden from view, except for the opposing dugout and the home dugout. They've got TV monitors that show you who's throwing.
Rizek, the big right-hander, pitched in the game last night, threw the ball very well.
2-1 to Despaigne. Bags loaded. Despaigne, left field, deep and gone. Way gone. A grand slam. Wow. That hit the facing of a support at the back of the seats in left field.
It all started with 2 outs and nobody on. Santos got a base hit. Ayala had an infield base hit, and then the walk loaded the bases for Despaigne. The 2 veteran hitters in the lineup delivered. Cepeda with the walk, and then you put yourself in a tough spot. Despaigne got the pitch down and in, and this is a no-doubter. Lots of damage. Despaigne knew immediately as he acknowledges the dugout. I got you covered, boys. A grand slam, and just like that, the 1-0 lead is erased.
Wow, look at that thing. Pitching change. 4-1 Cuba. We told you that Alfredo Despaigne, an international star, a star here in Japan, for many years a star on the Cuban national team. And with the bags loaded and his team down by 1, he absolutely blasted one. And so 4-1 now. John Diebel in Australia were in control. There were 2 outs and nobody on in the inning. Now he had that right-hander, the guy that you see, Dusan Ruzic, in the bullpen, but he stayed with Lachlan Wells. And now Ruzic arrives, but it's a little late. The one thing Australia can take from this, Buck, is they've had runners on base all night long.
Yep, they just have to keep grinding. What an unfortunate situation for the young lefty after getting 2 strikeouts to start the inning. And Ruzic gets the line drive to end it, but the damage is done.
Well, we'll see if Australia can get back up off the canvas, because Alfredo Despaigne with a big right hand has sent them down. Alfredo Despaigne here in a game summary. A grand slam for Cuba after Australia stranded 9 runners through the first 4 innings, finally got a run, had a lead, and it's disappeared. And now with the veteran right-hander Vladimir Garcia on the mound, Despaigne and Cuba will try to protect this lead to get to round 2.
Well, Rich, we talk about Raul Santos and how important he's been to the Cuban offensively. He had a couple of 2-out hits, and the biggest obviously came in the 5th inning, bottom of the 5th inning, a 2-out single that started that rally, and eventually they would load the bases, and Despaigne delivered the grand slam. The way that inning unfolded makes me wonder whether or not Peter Moylan is healthy. He is on the roster, pitched with Kansas City, longtime major league reliever, but you know, if there wasn't a better situation to use Moylan, it just makes me wonder how available he might be.
That's a fair question for sure. Well, John Diebel and Australia have had base runners, lots of base runners, but just 1 run. They've left 11 on base. I don't know how that didn't hit the hitter.
Breaking ball got away from Garcia and sailed behind the head of Candelas.
You see that wristband as well. We saw the emoji, that little smiley face. The fastball is in. It's actually part of Team Spencer, which is a charity set up by a baseball family in Australia for spinal muscular atrophy. We see many of the Australian players wearing that. Team Spencer. That one is smoked in the gap, right center field. It's going to get to the wall. Candelas pulls in with a double, and Australia trying to answer here has a start in the 6th.
Well, it's certainly important for Australia to bounce right back, and Candelas does his job. He stays on that outside fastball and rifles it into the alley in right center. Ends up at second base with a leadoff double, and he's encouraging his teammates in that dugout to get right back in this game.
Well, the top of the order is here now for Australia. Candelas is the leadoff hitter. He's 2 for 3. Beresford is 1 for 3. Then you've got Luke Hughes and Mitchell Denning. But remember, Garcia's a veteran. He's the 3rd pitcher to work for Cuba.
Well, the Australians have really had their opportunities today. So far in this game, they are 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and they've stranded 11. Just got to string together good at-bats to get back in this game.
Beresford takes a strike.
They've shown good patience at the plate. They've worked the Cuban pitchers for 6 walks.
10 seasons, 1,000 games in the minors, and finally an at-bat in the majors for Beresford. And he singled in his first major league game. Hits that one into right field. That's a hit. Candelas to third. That's Cespedes out there, or at least a Cespedes. And Beresford with a hit. Candelas at the corner. And there's nobody out. And Australia has something going here.
Well, the Australian team is loaded with character guys, and they are up for this task. They're down by 3, but the first 2 reach here in the top of the 6th. Beresford delivers another base hit, his second hit of the afternoon. Runners at the corners, nobody out. Chance to get right back in this ball game. He sat back on that breaking ball, and they wisely stopped the runner at third. Don't want to challenge that arm in right. Cespedes has a cannon.
We told you both managers would treat this as a Game 7 in a postseason series. Man, they certainly are. It's an elimination game. The winner goes on to round 2 to join Japan. You got a lefty in the bullpen. Israel, the surprise coming over from Pool A. And, of course, the Netherlands, who last World Baseball Classic came through Japan all the way to San Francisco to that final round.
You saw Levan Moinello, the lefty, throwing. He's been throwing all afternoon. You just wonder if he's going to have anything left. Should they call him into the game? I mean, literally, he was throwing during the starters outing when Blanco was pitching. So he's thrown a lot.
Cuba got a big grand slam from their power man. This is Australia's power guy, Luke Hughes. Hughes last night, a 2-run homer and a 2-run double. The loser goes home. The winner moves on to round 2. And Hughes swings and misses. It counts 1-1.
Pretty good movement on that fastball from Garcia. Good fastball right down the bottom of the strike zone.
Garcia, one of the harder throwers in Cuba, and a guy that likes to pitch inside, but a breaking ball. And Australia's had trouble with that pitch from a variety of Cuban pitchers today. Hughes has struck out twice and popped out at the corners, and there's nobody out. That is strike 3. 91 miles an hour with a fastball. And now a double play ball can get Garcia and Cuba out of this.
Morillon did a good job of going to the fastball here. Remember, they had finished off Hughes at bats with breaking balls, but this time they cross him up and he can't pull the trigger. Morillon called for an inside fastball. Garcia said, no, let's throw it outside, and he was able to get the strikeout.
So here's Mitchell Denning. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. You get the sense that Australia has to get at least 1 run out of this.
Oh, absolutely. You go first and third with nobody out, you got to get 1 for sure, and you're hopeful of getting more.
Vladimir Garcia has pitched in 2 World Baseball Classics, now 3. Ground ball, Benitez, Ayala, and Cuba gets the double play. And once again, Australia squanders an opportunity. First and third with nobody out. No problem for Vladimir Garcia and the Cubans. Game, and Moylan out of the bullpen for Australia. 4-1, Cuba on top. Moylan, who owes his major league career to the World Baseball Classic, where he was discovered. Originally pitched in the minor leagues for the Twins organization. It didn't pan out, went back to Australia, kind of developed that sidearm slinging delivery after playing in a rec league. Was discovered. Phil Dale, longtime scout for the Braves, is the pitching coach here for Team Australia, and he convinced the Braves to give him a shot. Moylan on a fastball. It's bunted, and a base hit. Cuba has another base runner. Yorisbel Graciel has 2 more hits in this ball game.
Graciel's had a tremendous tournament so far. He's singled in the 4th inning, and now he drops down a perfect bunt to start the 6th.
Now, Buck, Moylan's appearance here as Benitez steps in, and not to second guess because we certainly talked about it before it happened. This is a Game 7. In baseball, the trend now in a Game 7 or any important game or important moment is to take a high leverage reliever and put him in that position. Obviously, the Indians with Andrew Miller were pretty good at that. And Australia did not do it. They had Ruzic up, the right-hander. Moylan was not warming up. And of course, the result was Alfredo Despaigne against the 20-year-old lefty, Lachlan Wells, blasted one for a grand slam.
Yeah, this is the real challenge for managers in this tournament, is you certainly can't play it like you would in any regular season game. And you have to make tough decisions and quick decisions.
That bunt is going to be foul.
But after the Santos two-out single in the 5th inning, Alexander Ayala, a right-handed hitter, was up next, and then you can get the lefty out of that situation, bring in either Ruzic or maybe another right-hander. But John Deeble, a veteran of many of these tournaments, he's managed Australia in all 4, opted to leave the young left-hander, Lachlan Wells, into the game, and Wells would give up an infield hit to Ayala. The backhanded play by Logan Wade, he couldn't come up with it cleanly, and it was a hit all the way. And then Cepeda walked on a close pitch, and Despaigne hit the grand slam.
Moylan misses outside. Now, before the tournament, John Deeble talked to us about all the different occupations that many of his players have in the offseason or before their baseball careers. Moylan was a pharmaceutical rep. And that was after his time with the Twins and before the Braves gave him a shot after that World Baseball Classic appearance. And his success in the majors hasn't come without a price. This is a guy that's undergone a couple of Tommy John surgeries.
Back surgery, shoulder surgery, elbow surgery twice, but he continues to pursue his dream. He pitched last year with Kansas City, got into 50 games.
Runner goes, fastball up, and a delayed throw, and a stolen base. Graciel swipes second.
Yeah, the catcher, De San Miguel, double clutched. He didn't get a good grip on the ball the first time he grabbed for it, had to double clutch, and by the time he does it, he doesn't have a shot. Watch the catcher. You can see he had to re-grip the baseball, and that proved to be costly.
Moylan pitched with the Royals last year, a little bit in AAA with Omaha. Did his best work in a Braves bullpen.
2009, he pitched in 73 innings for the Braves and had a 284 earned run average. Came back in 2010, had an ERA of 297.
There's a bouncer up the middle, Harmon to get it, and Cuba nicely has put a runner at third with 1 out, and now a ground ball or something that could scoot through the infield, because I think Australia's infield is going to come in, and it's Frank Morejon. Morejon is 0 for 2, so if you're Cuba, do you get creative here?
Yeah, he's a good bunter, obviously, a guy that can put the bat on the ball. So you're thinking about adding to your lead. Morejon had an RBI double against China. Big wild swing on the first pitch.
Morejon, as you pointed out, is not known for his bat. He's 1 for 7 in the Classic. The infield is in. Gracial is at third base.
You can see the runner looking at the third base coach. Oftentimes a squeeze sign will be a verbal one. Doesn't look like they're even thinking about it. The runner at third not getting much of a lead.
Let me ask you this. With his delivery and the frisbee slider, is that a little tougher to bunt?
It might be tougher to bunt, but I think what you have to do is just stay on it and bunt it up the first baseline if you do indeed get that sign.
Breaking ball and a pop-up, and that's not going to get the job done. Wade has room and makes the catch. So Moylan has an important out, and now he has to face the younger Cespedes.
Cespedes has had his problems today. First time we've seen him struggle at the plate. He's had good at-bats. In his first 2 games, he struck out on a slider in the 3rd, struck out on a fastball in the 5th. He was the 2nd out of the 5th inning before Santos got that base hit to start the 4-run rally.
Breaking ball and a strike. Well, Moylan knows all about the older Cespedes, having pitched in the National League and the American League ever since 2006. And this is the younger version. Yilkes, who looked really good in game 1 with 3 hits, is 0 for 2 here with a couple of strikeouts. He did not look overmatched in front of 45,000 and powerhouse Japan. Oh, 2. And he swings and misses. Moylan gets a strikeout and keeps Gracial at third. Australia with work to do, down 4-1. Game summary in this one. It started out pitcher's duel. Warwick Sappold for Australia, Lazaro Blanco, and then Yoenis Yera for Cuba. And Australia got on the board. Logan Wade with a base hit. Alfredo Despagne erased it and told his teammates, I got you. A grand slam and a 4-1 lead. And Cuba with a 4-1 lead. Tim Kennelly, Trent Olchin, Logan Wade. That one popped up. Gracial, Despagne, and Despagne. There's no warning track over there, and that's one of the things in this ballpark. A lot of ballparks have a warning track, not only in the outfield, but also in foul territory. So you know when you're getting close to the wall, and obviously Despagne not real comfortable in that spot.
Actually got a glove on the ball, and he has played over here 3 past seasons, so he's familiar with his ballpark, but you can see the warning track in fair territory, but it doesn't continue into foul ground here at the Tokyo Dome.
Garcia misses outside. And of course, Australia is trying to come back against a guy that has done an awful lot in his career in Cuba. Was a very good closer, then turned into a starter. Gracial in time to get Kennelly.
This is the 3rd World Baseball Classic for the pitcher, Vladimir Garcia. He's a big fella. 28 years old, and he's done a little bit of everything. He won a title for Cuba in 2010 in the World University Games.
Change up away to Olchen. For Australia, they're down 4-1, and yes, the Despagne Grand Slam hurts, but also just as painful are all the runners left on base. A dozen so far, 9 through 4 innings.
Yeah, they've had runners on in each inning in this ball game. They left the bases loaded in the third and just haven't been able to come up with a big hit. It still is just a 3-run ball game. Get a couple aboard and if something happened, they just haven't been able to string anything together. They had a great opportunity last inning. First and third, nobody out. Hughes struck out, and then Denning hit into a double play.
That's a strike. Australia bench right now is on Todd Titchener, who answers them. That looked like a pretty good pitch. And Olchen fights off a breaking ball. Israel's coming here. Netherlands is coming here. And Japan has advanced already. Japan plays China tonight, and Japan has nailed down the #1 position coming out of Pool B. It all starts here in Tokyo on Sunday in Tokyo, round 2. It's a good conversation going on between Titchener and Olchen.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, and Morihon, the catcher's involved as well. You can see him turn around talking to the umpire.
Fastball in, and Olchen lines it foul. I had a chance to visit with the umpires before the ball game. Paid a visit on Larry Vanover, Todd Titchener, Fabrizio Fabrizi, and Suwon Choi. That one is hit to right and hit pretty well. Back goes Cespedes, and it's gone. And Australia has one of those runs back. And Garcia came in again with a fastball. Olchen hits it out, and it's 4-2.
Trent Olchen with 5 major league home runs. Played parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues, and he gets a high fastball. He knows he got enough of it to knock it out of the ballpark. Good at bat for Olchen. A 1-out home run here in the 7th. Got to be encouraging to the Australian team. Hey, you never know. Get a couple on here. Get right back in this game.
Logan Wade here with an RBI single and 1 out, nobody on.
That home run's the 4th home run the Aussies have hit in this tournament. Olchen with a 1-out homer, his first hit in this tournament.
Fastball up from Garcia, and the count 1-2. It was Wade's RBI single. They got Australia on the board. And Garcia strikes him out. One aspect of that hit, though, was, remember, Wade did not take second on a throw to the plate. Alan D. San Miguel followed with a single, but the Aussies did not get another run that inning. So there's 2 outs, and here is D. San Miguel, who is having an unbelievable series. He has doubled and singled and walked, so he's 2 for 2. He's been on base 3 times. He had a double last night, and in Australia's opener, De San Miguel had a home run to right field. It's a good take on a sharp breaking ball.
Lays off that breaking ball, and again, De San Miguel's been on base all 3 times this afternoon. A double, a walk, and a single. He's 4 for 7 in the tournament.
My goodness, center field. De San Miguel is 3 for 3. He's been on base all 4 times. And our young friend is back in business.
5 hits for the catcher, who's not known for his bat, but what a tournament he has had. He stays on this breaking ball, fires it right back up the middle. His 3rd hit of the afternoon. He's been on base 4 times. Remember, the bullpens are out of sight, so you can bet there's action in the Cuban bullpen, and that's Moinello. I'm surprised he's not out of gas. He's been throwing all day long. Levan Moinello, the slender lefty, and you can see the rest of the bullpen gathered around the monitor watching this game.
Part of the dynamics of a pitcher on the mound when he's struggling a bit is the fact in baseball, in most cases, he can see that there's somebody in the bullpen throwing, and that sometimes can put pressure on him. Sometimes it can motivate him. Here, I think he has to rely on word of mouth.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and you're right. You stand on the mound, you get yourself in trouble, and all of a sudden you see the bullpen starting to stir beyond the fences in the outfield, and it sends a message, hey, you better bear down, get it out. Here's a guy that needs a hit. Brad Harmon, the shortstop.
Harmon's 0 for 2. He's flied out, struck out. Nice night last night. A double and a couple of walks. You got a catcher at first base in De San Miguel.
The Aussies have out-hit the Cubans 10-8, but as we have mentioned all afternoon, they haven't come up with big hits with runners on.
Drive to left. Espagne charges in and is there and makes the catch. Australia gets 1 back, but they are running out of outs in an elimination game. In Tokyo, final day of Pool B in an elimination game here at the Tokyo Dome. Winner stays and advances to round 2. Loser gets a ticket home inside the Tokyo Dome. It's Cuba and Australia. Australia had a 1-0 lead until Cuban star Alfredo Despagne hit a grand slam. That was in the 5th. And here in the bottom of the 7th, veteran Peter Moylan is trying to get outs and keep his club in it. Australia got a run back on a home run by Trent Olchen in the 7th, top of this inning. This is Raul Santos, the dangerous leadoff man, has 2 more hits, has 6 in 3 games, has played a great center field. There's Olchen, and the rooster on the rail, who is trying to deliver some good luck for Australia. Here's the 2-1. And running up and slashing at it is Santos.
We have seen Santos do this effectively, where he takes a couple steps toward the pitcher's mound and then slaps the ball. And himself a bloop double, using that in his last game. He had 3 hits in the game, single, double, and a triple.
Struck him out. 2-2, got the corner. Santos wants to make sure.
Moylan's second strikeout since coming into the ball game, and he catches the outside corner with that breaking ball. Santos thought it was off the plate. Todd Tishner, the home plate umpire, rings him up.
Santos may have had a beef, although.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been outside, but this is a very dramatic angle.
Very much so. It's hard. You're not straightaway center, so that pitch that looks in, if you rolled the camera from left center directly behind second base, lined up with the mound and the plate, it's a very different angle. Alexander Ayala is 1 for 3. Ayala had a big hit in that 5th inning. The 5th inning for Cuba did not start out well. Laughlin Wells, a 20-year-old lefty who pitched a couple seasons in Single A, was on the mound. He struck out Morejon and Cespedes. Santos had a hit, Ayala had a hit, and then Cepeda walked. Australia stuck with Wells, and Despaigne hit it out, and there was no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was an interesting rally for Cuba as Despaigne came up with the bases loaded, and obviously he's one of the better power hitters that Cuba has produced. This will be his 4th season playing here in Japan. He signed a 3-year contract to play for the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks.
1-2. That's again down the third base line, and this one's in the corner. And Ayala has got extra bases, does not slide, and is in there. His helmet arrives later, and it's a double for the Cuban shortstop.
Ayala gets a breaking ball, hits it past the diving third baseman, and hustles out of the box. He's taking 2. Right on contact. Canelli does a pretty good job of getting the ball back in quickly, but it's offline, and Ayala has another extra base hit.
Now Cepeda, who's walked twice and singled.
I think this is a tough matchup for Peter Moylan because of his sidearm delivery. Everything is down in the zone, and I think that's where Cepeda's strength is. Cepeda, a switch hitter, has power from both sides of the plate.
And remember, you got Despaigne on deck, and there's 1 out. Two and 1. Cepeda has power. And Moylan, a good pitch.
Gets it down in the zone. And he's able to get it underneath the bat of Cepeda.
And Moylan strikes him out.
Good job by Moylan. He backed off on the breaking ball and had Cepeda out in front.
All right, the big moment in the ball game. Bags loaded. The lefty Wells still out there. Watch where this ball hits.
Oh, no!
Beresford hit a grand slam for Australia in their win last night against China, and Despaigne gave Cuba the lead with 1 swing of the bat. Came with 2 outs in the 5th.
That's kind of vintage Moylan there. You drop down, spin it. For a brief moment, it freezes a right-handed hitter.
That frisbee kind of breaking ball, difficult to hang in there. He starts it at the batter's hip and it breaks down and away. Very effective pitch.
That a fastball, chopped to third. Logan Wade across the diamond in the dirt. Hughes digs it out, and Cuba is done. Australia down 2 to the 8th. Australia has had a lot of opportunities in this one. In the third, bags loaded and a strikeout there. In the fourth, 2 on. Luke Hughes goes down. In the fifth, a run across, 2 more on. They didn't get in. And in the sixth, at the corners with nobody out and nothing to show, a double play ended the inning. Top of the order for Australia here in the 8th. David Candelas.
Make it happen, Rich.
Candelas 2 for 3. He doubled his last time up. And a breaking ball misses in, and it's 1-1. Now they did get a run back, Buck, in the 7th. Trent Olchen hit a solo homer. But you can see the team comparison, runners in scoring position, and 13 left on base for Australia. Good take there. No swing on the appeal, and it's 2-1. Meanwhile, you have to like what you see out of Vladimir Garcia, the veteran who has closed and has started, and both with success in Cuba. And he brings the fastball out for a strike.
Garcia came in and struck out Brad Harmon to end the 5th inning. That was the first batter he's faced. He gave up the home run to Olchen last inning.
Fastball right back at him, and he spears it and gets the out. Candelas hit it hard. He has been on it all day long.
Bouncing ball right back to the mound. Good play by Garcia. Takes it on the 1-hopper and gets the leadoff man here in the 8th. Looks like that's going to be it for him as Carlos Marti has come out. 45 pitches, and there's Livan Moinelo finally going to get an opportunity to come into this ball game.
Well, the question is, what's he got left? Because he's been warming up, it seems like, continuously up and down for a couple of hours. And he'll emerge from the hidden bullpen. Marti, though, is going to stick with him. Now, you saw Moinelo walk off the mound in the bullpen like, hey, I'm coming in the game. Now, we don't have cameras that are able to follow him, but I'll bet you he got to the runway and got to the dugout and is a little bit surprised. There's the phone call saying, hey, sorry about that.
Yeah, he threw his last pitch, and then he headed out of the bullpen area. It looked like he was coming into the ball game, but Carlos Marti staying with his veteran, Garcia.
Now, Beresford is 2 for 4. Remember, he had a grand slam in last night's ball game. Rolls a grounder out to Ayala at short, and his throw is in time. So 2 outs here in the 8th, and Marti's instincts gets him another out. Oh, he did make it to the dugout.
Go back. Not yet. We don't need you. That was interesting. So Marti obviously hadn't made up his mind until he went to the mound and then continued to stick with Garcia.
Well, when you've been warming up for on and off for 2 hours and you finally get the call, you're not slow to react. Luke Hughes has had a frustrating game. He's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's been in between all afternoon, whether to look for the fastball or breaking ball, and they have pitched him tough after watching him drive in 4 last night. Cuban has pitched him tough. Australia has never advanced out of the first round of the World Baseball Classic. This is their 4th appearance.
That one is drilled to center. Santos going back at the track, won't get it. It hops the wall. Hughes racing for second has got a double. Deepest part of the park, that's 400 feet from home plate. And Luke Hughes keeps the 8th inning alive.
Well, you got to drill it to get it over Santos's head in center field, and that's exactly what Hughes does. Hits it to the biggest part of this ballpark. Santos, a terrific outfielder in center, has a bead on it, but then recognizes it's beyond his reach, plays it off the hop, gets it back in, so the inning is alive. And now Marti out of the dugout for a second time, and he'll take Garcia out this time for sure.
And he's still throwing. Let's see if Moinelo believes it this time. Now, well, wait a minute. I don't think he believes it, Buck.
Are you sure? He's got to go now.
The lefty Moinelo will emerge shortly, we expect. All right, let's try this again. Livan Moinelo came out once, was sent back, and he has escaped from that bullpen that is hidden from view. And we've been watching him warm up on the monitors on and off for a couple hours. I mean, he was up early in this ball game, and here he is in a pretty big spot for his country in an elimination game. And Cuba just needs 4 more outs.
Moinelo, his second appearance in relief of Vladimir Garcia. Moinelo struck out the side in his only inning of work against China. He had a walk in that inning. He pitched the 8th inning in that 6-0 win over China.
Mitchell Denning is 0 for 3 with, or actually 1 for 3 with a walk. Bounced into a double play. His last time up, he had that little infield dribbler for a hit back in the 1st inning. And he gets a strike from the lefty. Luke Hughes is the runner at second. Australia has stranded 13 runners through 7. And it's been a real slog with runners in scoring position.
2 for 11. They just haven't come up with a big hit, and they've had opportunities all afternoon.
No swing. Suwon Choi, the umpire at third. He is a crew chief. In fact, all the umpires that are not from Major League Baseball are crew chiefs in their countries. Choi from Korea. We've seen Chin Woo Soo from Taipei, and Fabrizio Fabrizi from Italy. 1-1. That's up.
High breaking ball. Moinelo just 21 years old. This is his first World Baseball Classic experience. He pitched in the Caribbean World Series through 2 2/3 against the Dominican Republic.
Now Cuba does have a right-hander ready in the pen right now. And you got a right-handed bat on deck. Here's a 2-1. Ground ball up the middle, base hit, and Australia is within a run. Mitchell Denning with a 2-out single.
Denning delivers an RBI single, his second hit of the afternoon, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game. They bring Moinelo in to neutralize the left-handed bat, and Denning gets a fastball up out over the plate and hits it past Benitez into center. Luke Hughes comes around to score, and it's a 4-3 ball game.
And let's see if Carlos Marti leaves the lefty out there to face a right-handed bat in Kennelly, who is 0 for 3. And he will. So Moinelo against Kennelly. Denning is at first.
Denning had a stolen base back in the 5th. So that might be part of the reason they've stayed with the left-hander in this situation.
That stolen base was against a left-hander as well. That was Johannes Yera on the mound at the time. And Denning read the move correctly, got a big jump. Good breaking ball, good overhand breaking ball by Moinello. His first World Baseball Classic, 5'9", 140. And 21 years old. One and two. Top 8. This is an elimination game. Winner moves on, and the loser goes home. And you mix in the fact that these two teams have met in some really big moments in international play. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Three consecutive hits, and one of the reasons you expect Carlos Marti stayed with the lefty is you've got Trent Olchen coming up.
Boy, a high breaking ball that Kennelly's able to pull past the diving third baseman into left field. So he's on board. His first hit of the afternoon. Moinello gives up an RBI single to Denning and then a base hit to Kennelly.
You know, veterans who pitch in the bullpen will tell you how important it is to pace yourself when you're warming up. And you've got a young guy here who certainly is amped up. This is his first World Baseball Classic. His manager had him up early in the ball game. He's had him up throughout the ball game. You wonder if he left it in the bullpen.
Well, how about the fact that he thought he was in the game earlier? With Beresford at the plate, Carlos Marti, the manager, went to the mound, and we saw on our monitor that Moinello was actually headed to the dugout thinking he had been called into the game. So he had to shut down his adrenaline, shut down his emotions, go back and warm up. And after getting the first batter at Beresford, he's given up double, single, single. Well, actually, he gave up the single to Denning and now the single to Kennelly.
And John Diebel is going to stick with his veteran, his lefty, the guy that was on that silver medal team back in 2004, Trent Olchen, the 34-year-old out of Sydney. So it's lefty on lefty. Olchen homered his last time up. That was against the righty, Vladimir Garcia. And a big sweeping breaking ball for strike one. And remember the discussion that Olchen had with the home plate umpire Todd Titchener and Frank Morejón. It went through the whole at bat and continued right up to the home run. Pickoff throw. And Denning is back in. Kennelly is the runner at first. A run across, Australia within a run.
But again, we have to remind you of the great throwing arms in center and right for Team Cuba. Santos throws very well, and Cespedes has a major league arm in right field.
Fastball misses away.
Denning's going to have to work for a big secondary lead here with 2 outs. Trying to stretch his lead as far as possible there at second, representing the tying run in this 8th inning.
Cuba right now is bringing Despaigne in a bit. Now, wait a minute. Despaigne is walking in it, and it looks like something is wrong. Despaigne, of course, the grand slam is the difference in this ball game. He does not have a great throwing arm, but he looks like he's in pain out there.
So he's got a stiff neck. Calling time, and as for the trainer to come out, and it's interesting, middle of the inning, Despaigne asked for time, and Brings this game to a halt. Now, I've never seen this in a big league game where a player says, wait a minute, I need a massage in the middle of the inning.
Yeah, little chiropractic adjustment here. I would not want to adjust him. I mean, that might not be easy, as thick and as strong as he is. there's the veteran manager saying to himself, oh my goodness.
Yeah, 39 years of experience as a manager, and he's got to be thinking, really? You need a massage now?
And you know, the result of this is that Moinelo is going to throw more pitches as he tries to stay loose. Well, sooner or later, they got to make a decision whether they leave him in there. You can't wait. You can't treat him continuously. And the umpire's out there. And the trainer for Cuba is on his way back to the dugout. Moinelo has taken some warm-up tosses. You've got Olchin at the plate. If you're just joining us, Australia had a 1-0 lead. This is a big, big game, elimination game. Winner goes to round 2, loser goes home. Alfredo Despaigne, who was just getting treatment, hit a grand slam to make it 4-1. And Australia has crept back within a run with 2 outs in the 8th. Some wild comebacks in the Baseball Classic. Italy coming back against Mexico today. And a fastball from Moinelo, a strike to Olchin, and now it's 1-2.
That comeback by Italy came against Roberto Osuna, the closer for the Blue Jays. And he didn't get an out.
Team Italy with a win over Mexico in Mexico. All right, Buck, what's he see here? Fastball, breaking ball?
He's going to throw him a breaking ball and try to get Olchin to chase. He's ahead in the count, 1-2.
One-two pitch. Breaking ball up.
Tried to overthrow it and really lost it upstairs. I mean, obviously in this situation, you don't want to go 3-2 to give the runners on base an opportunity to get a running start with 2 outs. But we have seen the Cuban pitchers pitch backwards all afternoon. By that, I mean they've thrown breaking balls and fastball counts, and when you expect to get a fastball, more often than not, the Aussie hitters have gotten breaking balls.
Denning at second, Cannelli at first. 2-2 to Olchin. Fastball got him. And the 21-year-old comes in, and his big moment gets an enormous strikeout. 1-run game, bottom 8. Later tonight from Tokyo, Samurai, Japan. They take on China. As we talked about, many of the fans that are coming to that game tonight, it's 3:25 Tokyo time, are filtering into the Tokyo Dome. Bottom 8, Willian Saavedra cuts at a breaking ball from Stephen Kent, who is the 5th pitcher to work for Australia.
Kent's 27 years old. He actually got up to AAA with the Braves, pitched in Gwinnett last year. He's had Tommy John surgery. He's had trouble with his elbow after the Tommy John surgery, but he has bounced back and pitched entirely in his minor league career for the Atlanta Braves. Braves re-signed him late in 2016 after he touched 90 in the Australian Baseball League.
Bouncer to third, Logan Wade across the diamond, and safe. The Australian first baseman off the bag. Luke Hughes trying to keep the foot on. Remember, there's no replay here. And here's our first look at it.
Third baseman Logan Wade takes his time. He's got plenty of time, but then throws wide of the mark at first, and you can see Luke Hughes pulled off the bag, and he lost contact with the first base bag, and that allows Saavedra to reach on the air by the third baseman, Logan Wade.
Well, Stephen Kent's job now is pretty simple, and that is deliver this game to the 9th at 4-3. Sounds simple, but now with the error by Wade, you've got Gracial, who might just be the MVP for Cuba in this round, and he's going to bunt, or at least try to, and he takes outside.
Shows bunt on the first pitch, but I wouldn't be surprised if they let him swing the way he's been swinging the bat. By showing that bunt attempt, he might have coaxed Kent into throwing him another fastball.
Fastball up. Gracial 2 hits in this ball game, 3 hits against China, and 2 doubles against Japan. Two and one.
Frank Morejon, the catcher, talking with the manager, Carlos Marti, probably looking ahead to the top of the 9th, bottom 3rd of the Australian lineup. Scheduled to bat.
Bouncer up the middle, backhanded there, and a gorgeous flip from Beresford to Harmon starts the double play.
What a terrific double play. Beresford, the journeyman infielder, makes a terrific flip. Ball's up the middle, nearly gets past him. He doesn't have time to transfer it to his throwing hand, and Harmon is there to take the throw barehanded on to first for a double play. What a big double play here in the bottom of the 8th.
And so Benitez now, and Stephen Kent an out away from getting through this 8th and keeping it at 1 run. Australia has the bottom 3rd of their order due up.
Well, Australia on defense turned 3 double plays here this afternoon to keep it close. They've out-hit the Cubans 13-9, but we've told you all day long they've stranded 15 base runners. They've managed just 3 hits in 13 at-bats with runners in scoring position.
Miguel Lajera was up and has warmed up for Cuba. And so you expect to see him in the 9th.
Lajera had a 1-2-3 9th inning in the 6-0 win over China.
He is a right-hander and one of the hardest throwers in Cuba with a mid-90s fastball.
The thing about that, if you're Team Australia, is fastball doesn't bother them. They like to hit the heater, and we saw that against Sagano, the big ace for Team Japan. They have had their problems when you've got a soft tosser on the mound who flips a lot of breaking balls in there.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 1-run game, elimination game. Last day of the first round for Pool B. Cuba, a national power, world power. And their national team has had so many big moments, and some of those have come at the expense of Australia. We talked about the comeback in 2009 in the World Baseball Classic. We showed you the home run. It was a Alfredo Despaigne grand slam that erased an Australian lead. And Benitez walks, and here comes Morejon.
Just missed with the fastball downstairs. Peter Moylan, 2 good innings of work, 3 strikeouts. He allowed a couple of hits, but that was it.
Sorry.
Australian fans here and no doubt watching on the edge of their seats. So here's Morejon, the light hitting catcher, who is 0 for 3. Kent misses away.
Cuba made it to the second round in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. But that's as far as they got. Netherlands beat them 7-6. That's
Into
trouble.
Right center field, falls for a hit. Candelas has it. Stopping at second is Benitez. And you go from Morejon to Cespedes, who comes up with runners at first and second. And if you're Australia now,
The next batter, Joel Cespedes.
And then it's the lefty.
you got a lefty and a righty up as well.
Josh Tolles is the left-hander. The right-hander, Ryan Searle. We have
Tulsi, let me
seen
know when you're ready.
Searle
You ready?
earlier.
There's going to be a couple things happening here. You got a pinch runner coming in at first base. John Diebel. Actually, the runner is going to go in at second base, and that's Victor Mesa. We really haven't seen a whole lot of Mesa in the series. He runs for Benitez.
Meta has terrific speed, a 40 stolen base a season in Cuba. So they go with the speed in this 2-out situation here in the bottom of the 8th.
And Australia stays with the lefty to face a right-handed bat. Good breaking ball by Kent.
Well, Kent with the 2-out walk really put himself in this jam, and then Morejon got a single to right.
Remember, the inning started with the error by Logan Wade. Gracial bounced into a double play. Benitez has walked. Morejon with a base hit. And the 0-1. Boy, as good as Cespedes looked in the first game, he's struggled in this one.
Yeah, they pitched him tough all afternoon, throwing him some very good breaking balls. He has struck out 3 times so far in this ball game.
Got an elbow guard, looks like he got from his older brother. Got number 52 on it. It's a Mets issue. That is strike 3 called. Australia is down to their last 3 outs. Their catcher, Alan D. San Miguel, due up, 4-3 Cuba. 9th inning has arrived. This is an elimination game. Pool B, Cuba, Australia. Winner goes to round 2, loser goes home. John Diebel in Australia had the lead. Alfredo Despaigne delivered a grand slam for Carlos Marti. But Australia has crept within 1, but down to their last 3 outs. Stefan Welch will pinch hit, and a hard-throwing right-hander, the closer for Cuba, is in. Miguel Lajera, a mid-90s fastball. But as Buck Martinez pointed out, Australia is a good fastball hitting team. Shows a wrinkle there at 81 miles an hour, and the count is 1-1. Welch really struggled in the first 2 games, did not start, but a pinch hit appearance here in the 9th.
Lajera closed out the win over China with a 1-2-3 9th inning. Had a strikeout in his only inning of work.
As you saw there, Lajera's reaction drew one from Todd Titchener, who pointed that it was outside. Lajera put his hand up as if to say, my bad. That one catches a corner.
And Lajera saying, well, that was the same pitch. Very animated. A given pitches we have seen that from Yura, and Lajera says, no problem, I've got this.
And you can see Titchener putting his hand up as well. This is not a time to show up an umpire. 2-2. Fastball, Welch drills it. Left center field deep. Santos and Despaigne, and it's Despaigne who makes the catch. He hit it well, and it was a fastball. You know, maybe at the beginning of the tournament, John Diebel would pinch hit for Alan D. San Miguel. He's not known for his bat, but he has taken to Tokyo 3 for 3 in this ball game. San Miguel doubled in last night's ball game. He homered in game 1.
He's got 5 hits, a home run, 2 doubles. And he's had quite a tournament here.
Right now, Australia needs a base runner. San Miguel takes outside.
San Miguel's been on base all 4 times he's come to the plate. He had a double in the second. He walked in the 4th, singled in the 5th, and singled in the 7th. They need him to get on base.
Cuban corners creep a little closer to the line. Saavedra at first, Gracial at third. And San Miguel takes outside. It's 2-0. So a 2-0 pitch. Fastball up, and it's 3-0. And so Lajera is throwing hard. We've seen that. But he's behind in the count.
Well, you've got to put the shackles on San Miguel, even though he's got 5 hits. You've got to make him take a strike right here.
Dialed it down to 89. And that came in and caught the corner. It's 3-2.
Off-speed pitch on the inside corner. Looked like a changeup that ran inside to the catcher, and it was a strike.
So a 3-2 coming. Australia down to their last 2 outs. And it's hard to lay off that pitch, especially after that last one was called strike. You identify spin, you identify release point, and you got 2 strikes.
Yeah, you don't want to take anything close in this situation, especially as well as San Miguel has been swinging the bat.
Jordan Mandule is out at second base. He came in defensively to start the inning. 3-2 coming. And he got him on a fastball that rode up and out of the strike zone. San Miguel is the 2nd out of the 9th. And Cuba is 1 out away from getting to the 2nd round.
Good fastball from Lajera. Might have been ball 4, but with 2 strikes, you can't take a chance, and he reaches back for a little extra to record the strikeout. 2nd out of the 9th.
So the veteran shortstop, Brad Harmon, is the only thing that stands between Cuba and the 2nd round. And Lajera misses out. Harmon, also known for his defense, did not have a great season in the ABL. Hit just 194. Carlos Marti, his first World Baseball Classic.
Come on, Russell.
Another breaking ball and another strike. And Cuba is 1 strike away from advancing. One strike away. Lajera The 1-2. He got him, and Cuba is on to the second round. They take down Australia. An Alfredo Despagne grand slam stands up.
Cuba comes through with a big slugger. Despagne driving in. The only runs for Cuba with one swing of the bat, a grand slam. Lajera slams the door on the bottom third of the lineup. And Despagne did exactly what they were hoping to get from him as Cuba moves through the second round. The entire offense came through for Cuba in the 5th inning after Australia had taken a 1-0 lead. Very disappointing outcome for the Australian team.
This Australian team gave Cuba all they could ask for. But it were those early innings where Cuba was unable to cash in. They left 9 men on base in the first 4 innings. 15 total in the game. And this Cuban team, the 2.0 version, without the big names, without Abreu and Tomas and Gurriel, has taken down Australia, and again, they do it in international play in a big, big game.
Now, Australia had a good game against Japan, had an opportunity against them, and then bounced into an inning-ending double play at a 1-1 point of the ball game in the 5th, and certainly more opportunities this afternoon, but couldn't come through with a big hit. Trent Ocean hit a home run in the 7th. They got an RBI from Mitch Denning in the 8th to make it a 1-run game, but the bullpen for Cuba got the job done with the game on the line.
Well, Cuba, right next to Japan, advances, and we're all set for the second round here. Frank Morajón set the tone early. Australia hung on to that 1-0 lead. And then Alfredo Despagne with a grand slam sends Cuba to the second round. Cuba, Japan, Israel, Netherlands. We'll see you in the second round. For Buck Martinez, I'm Rich Waltz.